In the evening, when the crystal chandelier cast sunbeams onto the office walls, the girl suddenly realized that she was in deep trouble. And this time, probably big trouble. The young woman leaned over the young man in a light colored suit who was lying on the sofa. She seriously asked Mr. Nduan if he wanted to marry her. Her playful face was flushed with pink. The girl introduced herself as Yunbo Ra. She was 28 years old, and for the first time in her life, she found herself in such a situation. She looked at him with trusting brown eyes and held his black tie as if it were a leash. He looked at her face with curiosity and surprise. The young lady suddenly blurted out that she had just said that she wanted to justify herself by inventing a reason for her impulsiveness. And suddenly he asked her if she really wanted this, if she was sure about it. He looked at her kindly, grabbed her hand, and their fingers intertwined. She was shocked because he said he agreed and pulled her hand toward him. She asked if it was real. Recently, Bo Ra was sitting in a cafe across from a man much older than her. She thought she had heard something wrong, so she asked again. The man laughed. Didn't the fact that she was there mean that she was interested in him? He suggested they not waste any time and get married. He invited her to the registry office right away without delay. Now it was the girl's turn to laugh. It was all her grandmother's fault. Did her grandmother seriously think that Bo Ra would marry a man in his 50s? Bo Ra assumed that the man had misunderstood her. He got angry and pointed his finger at her. Was she just going to walk away like that? Her patience was about to run out. Bo Ra firmly stated that she was not going to get married. What? He shouted furiously. He pounded his fists on the table, splashing coffee everywhere. Bo Ra asked if he really thought she had come here of her own free will. The girl looked angry. Her face darkened with rage. She explained that she had simply been forced to come. If he wants to get married, let him find someone his own age. Besides, she had heard that he had a wife and daughter. In her mind, Bo Ra responded more aggressively, but in reality, she behaved very kindly. She smiled and told him that the president was too greedy. Did he want to have an affair with her grandmother? They were a perfect match. The man was shaking with rage. How dare she talk to him like that? His blue eyes were filled with rage. Bo Ra said that he was no longer young and that it was time to behave with dignity. He slammed his fist on the table. Bo Ra got up from the table without drinking her coffee. She said it was time for her to go. She wished him luck with his search. He was furious. How dare she? Without turning around, the girl stuck out her tongue. She went on her way. Her path was blocked by a car. The car stopped. Behind the wheel sat a dark-haired woman who asked how she was doing. Bo Ra was the CEO of the same company where this woman worked. Bo Ra got into the car and said she was about to explode. Her colleague asked how her day had been. The girl decided it was better to remain silent and bowed her head sadly. The dark-haired woman didn't know what to say. The phone rang. It was signed Demon Grandmother. She answered and heard the statement that she had completely lost her mind, and did she understand who she had really offended? Bo Ra replied that she was definitely not the one who had lost her mind. She explained that her grandmother was forcing her granddaughter to have an affair with a 50-year-old man. And she hadn't lost her mind after that? Yunbo Ra! The grandmother shouted. The girl asked why she was yelling. The woman shouted for her to come home immediately. The woman behind the wheel understood everything and asked with a giggle what she was going to do now. The girl said she had no idea. Maybe she would find someone and get married very quickly. She glanced at a large billboard featuring a young man advertising a skincare product. It's no big loss if she marries someone she doesn't know, joked her colleague. It's better to choose someone handsome and young. Isn't she a representative of a wedding salon? The girl smiled slyly. Yes, she works at the Fialka wedding salon named after the flower of the same name. The girl is stylish, confident, and heads the largest chain of wedding salons in Korea. They sell luxurious dresses for every taste. Fluffy fishtail lace satin, all kinds of jewelry. The salon services include clothing selection, makeup photo, and video shooting, wedding planning, and honeymoon planning. Rumor has it that couples who get married through this salon never break up 365 days a year. You have to watch Couples in Love. And the CEO, the girl whined, is all alone. I need to get married urgently. Her colleague asked if she was serious. Ra blushed and said that her interlocutor was probably joking. What sane person would agree to such a thing just like that? But fortunately, she has enough money. What handsome young man would refuse money? The girls parked and our heroine got out of the car. Sure enough, her colleague said she had forgotten to mention something. Bo Ra was surprised and stopped. Tomorrow, a couple of scenes for a drama series will be filmed in the salon. It's good publicity, so she agreed. Bo Ra was confused. How so? The girl asked not to be beaten because she had sorted out the client's schedules for the next day and arranged a day off for her. Bo Ra grabbed her head. Wait a minute, if they're filming a drama, is this a chance for her too? And she remembered the pleasant face of the dark-haired, gray-eyed guy she had noticed on the banner. At home, Bo Ru had an unpleasant conversation with her grandmother waiting for her. The elderly woman was clearly not in the mood, as evidenced by her crossed arms and dissatisfied expression. The woman looked stylish. She was dressed in a mint-colored pantsuit, a vintage scarf, and a pearl necklace. The grandmother said emphatically that Bo Ra could not even talk to her until she got married. The girl confirmed that her no was final. The grandmother objected. Did she really think that her granddaughter's opinion mattered? Her ungrateful parents had died, leaving her with nothing. She had raised her all this time on her own. The girl hung her head. Her grandmother added that her granddaughter was in debt to her. In any case, she was as shameless as her father. The girl clenched her fists. Her grandmother said that she would definitely repay the debt. What a fuss, she had been set up again. Well, just let her go and politely apologize to her fiancé. Did she understand her instruction? The grandmother behaved despotically. The girl said she didn't want to. What? The grandmother became even more angry. Bo Ra repeated once again with disgust that she would not do it. Grandma started yelling that she had really lost her mind. She needed to be taught a lesson so that she would understand. And she swung her arm at the girl. At that moment, the second granddaughter entered, announcing her visit. She asked Yun Bo Ra what had happened between them. What had she done this time? Bo Ra replied irritably that it was none of her business. The girl who had come grabbed her grandmother under the arms and said that in that case, they would not talk about it. She had heard that Bo Ra had recently met with an old man. She hoped everything had gone well. The grandmother pinched the girl's cheeks. She said she was her darling. Her granddaughter smelled strongly of alcohol. She had told her to drink less because it was harmful. The girl apologized in response and said that it was her friend's wedding. She congratulated her with all her heart. The grandmother wondered how her sweet girl could be so kind. Bo Ra thought with hidden resentment that it must be fun to get drunk at someone else's wedding. The younger granddaughter looked at Bo Ra, then at her grandmother, and asked tearfully if she was going to marry her off to old men. She despises men with a large age difference. Her grandmother replied that her girl was worrying for nothing. What was she talking about? She wasn't Bo Ra to do such a thing to her. She had prepared a suitable match for her precious granddaughter. The girl cried, and her grandmother tried to comfort her, holding her shoulders. Ji Yan asked if it was true, and her grandmother unfolded a piece of paper in front of her so she could look at it. Ji Yan said that he was really handsome and was pleasantly surprised. She asked if he was actor An Do-woon. She was a big fan of his. The grandmother was delighted. Indeed, she had heard that this young man's hobby was acting. It was a business agreement, so she didn't need to worry about money at all. But there was one problem. He had 4 sisters. The girl imagined the pressure the 4 of them would put on her. She didn't want to have many sisters-in-law in the house. Her grandmother said she shouldn't worry. She was her precious granddaughter, and she wouldn't let her get married to the wrong person. But Ba just turned away. She couldn't bear to look at it anymore. Her grandmother called out to her. Where was she going? The girl grimaced in irritation. Grandma added that she should call CEO Pak and apologize within the week. If her granddaughter ignores her again, she will no longer feel sorry for her and will take serious action. Bo Ra opened the door. She is not sure that her grandmother is the same person she used to be. Isn't that disgusting? Ji Yan and she are both her granddaughters, but Bo Ra is like a stranger to her. Oh, she doesn't know anymore. The girl fell face down on the pillow. She wanted to cry. She remembered the words of her second granddaughter. Isn't that actor An Do-yoon? Surprisingly, she is his big fan. Who is he? The girl untied the bow around her neck. Her phone was lying next to her. She grabbed it and started Googling who he was. She had seen his face somewhere before. Here was Ahn Do-woon wearing a mask during COVID. Here he is saying something into the microphone, his appearance radiating confidence. Here he looks simply brilliant. To her taste, he was a very attractive character. The girl looked at the photos on the internet one by one. Bo-ra wondered what it would be like to be loved by a man like him, but it had nothing to do with her, so she put her phone away. Oh, if only once she wanted so much for someone to love her. Mourning against the backdrop of the cityscape with skyscrapers, Bo-ra stands in a youthful beige trench coat and holds a laconic clutch bag. The dark-haired employee saw that her director had come to work and was surprised. She had said that she had no business today because of filming. The girl smiled. She pretended to have completely forgotten and tapped her fist on her head. Bo-ra thought that sometimes it seemed to her that her dark-haired boss Lee was really some kind of ghost. The dark-haired employee assumed that she had simply run away again as soon as morning came after another fight with her grandmother. But it's okay. She thinks it's easier to settle in the office. Well, that's very funny. The dark-haired girl laughed. Bo-ra asked what it meant. The door said, staff only. They said they would pay manager Lee if he allowed them to use the entire salon, and at the end of the drama, their company name would be listed as a sponsor. Bo-ra angrily replied that despite this, she couldn't just give away the CEO's office. Lee got scared and tried to get out of it by saying that the fitting room on the third floor was currently available. It might be noisy because of all the commotion, but Bo-ra would feel comfortable while resting there. She would call when the part of the shoot in the CEO's office was over. Bo-ra reluctantly agreed. Well, it's quite cozy here with the curtains closed. And she drew the curtains. Hearing some commotion, the girl asked why her boss Lee had returned so quickly, but it turned out not to be her. The girl accidentally overheard a phone conversation. How many times does he have to repeat himself? He doesn't want to go on a blind date. Right now, he wants to focus on work. A man? What a surprise! And she thought it was Ga-yeon Lee. Listening to the conversation, she wondered if forced marriages for children had become fashionable. It seemed that he had also been through a lot. The guy asked her to remind him of her name. Oh, Ji-yeon. Wow, the girl remembered yesterday's conversation. Wait, what did he say? Ji-yeon? Was this the same Ji-yeon she knew? Her crazy cousin? What is going on? The girl wondered anxiously. Judging by the conversation and his tone, the way he angrily said he was going to hang up, this must be the famous actor Ahn Do-woon, right? So the filming in the salon will take place with him in the lead role? Oh yes, Ji-yeon, how annoying this situation is. Her cousin's mocking face stood before her eyes like a nightmare, and she remembered how her relative had laughed at her as if hoping that her date with that old man had gone well. Why does Ji-yeon always get everything good that brings happiness while Bo-ra has to suffer? How long will this go on? The girl nervously grabbed the curtain. Maybe she should teach the arrogant Ji-yeon a lesson and outsmart her unfair grandmother? A cunning plan formed in her head. Yes, she had to take it for herself so that she could understand and feel what it was like. The girl decisively came out from behind the curtain and apologized for disturbing him. The young man was surprised. He was taken aback. Bo-ra approached him. He was lying on the couch, still wearing his shoes. He apologized, saying he didn't know anyone else was there. If she wanted, she could come in, of course. The girl came very close to him and put her hand on his shoulder. Then she climbed onto the bed and addressed him by name. Wouldn't Do-woon like to marry her? When he asked her where she wanted to have the wedding, Bo-ra gasped in shock. What had she just said? What nonsense was she talking about? She wasn't that crazy. Oh, she had really lost her mind. She laughed loudly, said she was very, very sorry, and asked him to pretend he hadn't heard anything. She apologized profusely. And backing away, she walked out the door. He sat down and looked at her anxiously, watching her leave. The girl he had said yes to had just walked away. Bo-ra saw manager Ga-yeon Lee and approached her. Lee asked what the director wanted. What had happened? And she noticed that the girl was all wet with sweat. The blonde's face was indeed dark as earth. She asked what she should do. Ga-yeon Lee asked again what had happened. The girl explained that she seemed to have messed up badly. No, she had definitely gotten herself into trouble. Was it really such a serious mistake that it couldn't be fixed? Gion couldn't believe her colleague that things were so bad. Deeply upset, Bo-ra confirmed that this was indeed the case. It was a completely irreparable mistake. Because a few minutes ago, she had proposed to the young man, and then she immediately ran away. To say that Gyeon Lee was shocked by this unexpected news would be an understatement. She put her hand over her mouth to keep from screaming in surprise. Indeed, Bo-ra had promised to propose to the first man she met, and she kept her word. The blonde told her coworker that it was just a momentary impulse. Gyun winked at her, gave her a thumbs up, and said she admired her. Bo-ra protested. Gyun wouldn't say that if she knew who she had just spontaneously proposed to. The brunette laughed and crossed her arms over her chest. Bo-ra was worrying for nothing. She was the one who had always been there and seen everything. The boss stopped laughing carefree as soon as Bo-ra said the name An Do-woon. Really? The An Do-woon she knows? The handsome one who loves apples? Yes, that An Do-woon. Bo-ra clutched her head, which was buzzing from the shock she had experienced like a beehive. And he answered, yes. Gyeon Lee's finger, which had just been pointing upward, indicating the approximate location of the hero of the girls' discussion, suddenly dropped. Tears streamed from the blonde's eyes. Is this a joke? Will everything be okay? Come on, stop it. Has Bo-ra lost her mind? Gyun seemed to be angry at her colleague's frivolous antics. Bo-ra agreed. She also thought she was out of her mind for doing something so strange and for no apparent reason. It didn't matter how much her grandmother and Ji-yeon had teased her. She shouldn't have made such a proposal. But she shouldn't worry so much. Her friend tried to calm her director down by placing her hand on her shoulder in a friendly manner. Gyeon said that fans claim that An Do-won will not accept confessions. What was so special about it? Besides, Bo-ra says she ran away immediately after the confession. Doesn't it look like a normal prank? Gyeon Lee was beaming with the brilliance of her insight. Indeed, the blonde agreed, breathing a sigh of relief. So there's no need to worry so much about this situation. Lee concluded. Bo-ra wiped the sweat from her forehead but was still nervously twisting her scarf. It was unlikely that her confession had touched him deeply, but there was one detail that Yeon Bo-ra had overlooked. The next day when she came to her office, Gyeon knocked. The blonde asked what had happened. She looked exhausted. The only thing that seemed cheerful in this office before Lee's arrival was the mandarin tree. Gyeon announced that An Do-won wanted to talk to her. Bo-ra was so surprised that she spat her coffee back into her cup. Don't tell me her cunning plan worked after all. The previous day had been terrible for the blonde, and she had returned home extremely exhausted because she had had to avoid meeting An Do-woon all day. Bo-ra's ingenuity would have been amusing if it weren't for the tension of the situation. It turned out that her circle was full of the actor's fans who dreamed of seeing him again. Bo-ra was very annoyed by this and constantly had to bring her colleagues back from their pink pony world to urgent work tasks. That's why she was so happy when she finally returned home. At last, she could stop thinking about him. How could she be so stupid? Why did this happen to her? The girl slapped her head with her hand. And of course, it had to be him. Too much publicity. She probably wouldn't be able to avoid seeing him at Ji-yeon's wedding, which was coming up soon. Suddenly, the girl ran out of the room because she heard Ji-yeon whimpering. She was trying to complain about something to her grandmother. The grandmother affectionately hugged and comforted her granddaughter, asking what had happened to make her beloved girl cry. Ji-yeon lifted her tear-stained face and complained angrily that the boy An Do-woon had hurt her. He wasn't even thinking about the wedding. She didn't interest him at all, either as a bride or as a person. Suddenly, Ji-yeon blurted out that he had told her he was in love with another girl. Grandma was shocked by this news. Bo-ra, who had become an unnoticed witness to this conversation, clenched her teeth in surprise. What had she done? She had ruined her cousin's wedding and her grandmother's plans. What if they found out the reason? Does An Do-won have someone else? What should she do? She had already told everyone about her wedding to him. Ji-yeon cried even harder. Her grandmother tried to comfort her granddaughter. And Do-won was not worth her tears and worries. In general, such things were not worth her suffering. Bo-ra realized that she would not hear anything new and went to her room. Bo-ra fell onto her bed. Her thoughts were filled with anxious guesses. What was that? What if? What if Woon had told his deceived cousin about Bo Ra? Sweat broke out on the blonde's face. And now he had come to Bo Ra's workplace. It seemed that her suspicions were not unfounded. The blonde asked Guyon Lee if she had heard correctly. Had Woon really come to talk to her? Her boss confirmed it. She wished it weren't so, but it was. He really wants to see Buru about a very personal matter. And Guyon handed the director some napkins to wipe the coffee off her face. The girl recalled the absurdity of the situation. Why does she have such a big mouth? Distraught Bo Ra slapped her palms on the table and ordered her boss to say that she was not there and that she was busy all day. Guyon replied that it probably wouldn't help Bo Ra was overcome with a bitter feeling. She had made a mess of things. Guyon's angry gaze made her sweat, and she ran off to answer a phone call. The caller had called the Violet Wedding Salon. Bo Ra plopped down in the director's chair. It was better for them not to cross paths at all. Guyon left but returned a few minutes later. The boss announced that she had managed to sort everything out. Really? Bo Ra smiled with relief. Yes, and Do Woon said he understood everything. Yes, really, it's okay, he promised to come after lunch. Gyun was beaming, but the corners of Bo Ra's smile drooped. How so? Gyun said she had sorted everything out, so why is he coming back? What a mess. Bo Ra angrily slammed her fist on the table. What did she have to do to make it finally stop? The girl slammed the hood of her car in anger. She remained standing there, leaning on the hood of the car as if drunk. She couldn't take it anymore. If it was 1 o'clock, then it was 1 o'clock. If it was 2 o'clock, then it was 2 o'clock, but she would run away when he showed up. What if he lied and didn't come? The girl exclaimed that he was clearly taking revenge, making her tremble all day long. And at that very moment, he came up behind her and said that they had finally met. She turned around at his call, silently sending him away while smiling sweetly. She addressed him by name. He was disguised with a COVID mask, a cap, and street-style clothing. He admitted that he was worried she wouldn't recognize him. The guy took off his mask and said with a gentle look that Yeon Bo Ra had even mentioned his name. This made it clear that he had remembered her name too. The blonde understood this, so she asked how he found out who she was according to her passport and place of work. Do Woon said smugly but incredibly sweetly that you have to know the name of the person you're engaged to. Oh, he was referring to that silly proposal. So she laughed and asked if he was there to see her. He mirrored her emotion with the same laugh and replied, "Are there any other options?" She thought that she really hoped for that. Bo Ra said she was very sorry, but she was very busy and occupied for the whole day. So she asked him to forgive her, and she ran away again. Suddenly, he grabbed her by the collar and apologized. But how could she run away when they were already engaged? She broke free and looked indignantly at An Duan. He suggested they come to an agreement and make sure they had decided everything and advised her to hurry up. Because they were both in an industry where rumors were inevitable. She also knew of similar cases. The guy smiled slyly. That's why they had to be as inconspicuous as possible. If he wants to fix everything, then Bo Ra is very interested. The girl was delighted with this turn of events. He's a real pro, she thought. While she was thinking about how to avoid the consequences, he came to cancel everything. Contrary to her expectations, he took her hand, pulled her close to his heart, and said he accepted her proposal. The actor smiled happily, but Bo Ra was angry. Something was clearly wrong here. What was going on? He reminded her that it was Bo Ra who had made the proposal. The blonde turned her face away and muttered, "Oh, how interesting." And the guy reminded her once again that he gladly accepted her proposal. The blonde still thought he was making fun of her. She cringed from the internal struggle as if she were being forced to eat a sour lemon. What if she was just joking? She pulled her hand out of his. That can't be said. And Do Woon, because then he would be terribly upset. She wouldn't play with his feelings, would she? At these words, sweat appeared on her face. It seemed that he was either very good at acting or he wasn't bluffing. She couldn't believe that she had fallen into the trap of sincere male love. He said thoughtfully that she was saying terrible things. Bo Ra warned the guy not to dare tell anyone that she had deprived him of his love support and dreams, because she didn't want to earn the hatred of his fans. An Da-woon argued that he didn't see any problem with that. What should she do now? How could she explain? It was entirely her fault. Yeonbo Ra suddenly realized the terrible truth. She had tried to use a person for her own revenge. How was she any better than her grandmother with her dishonest, cruel, and unfair treatment of her older granddaughter? Now she would have to take full responsibility. Bo-ra became sad and pressed her fist to her chest. This time, the girl seriously apologized, saying that she had not been in her right mind that day and had acted thoughtlessly without considering the consequences. And Da-woon asked if he understood correctly that she was crazy about him. The guy smiled. Her jaw dropped. Damn it, how could he have heard that? No way. She was just acting crazy at the time. He crossed his arms over his chest and argued that she had done it anyway, and that was a fact. Bo-ra justified herself by saying that at that moment she was vulnerable both mentally and physically. Ra froze when the handsome man said the same conclusion she had come to a few seconds ago. She had to take responsibility for her words. Maybe he would pretend he hadn't heard her. The blonde begged, looking at him with puppy dog eyes and folding her hands imploringly. No, he couldn't do that anymore. And Duan took the baseball cap by the brim with his fingertips and pressed it to his chest, because after her words, he hadn't slept all night from excitement. The blonde thought that this was becoming dangerous, and that she should not be led astray by this demonic face that was calling for confession. Bo-ra asked, "Surely people often confess their love to him?" He confirmed her guess that was indeed the case. His counter-argument that this was the first time in his life that something like this had affected him so much impressed her and broke down her logical defense. So that's how it was. In any case, she was very sorry. It was just a spontaneous impulse. The girl was literally bowing to him, begging him to accept her apology. His hands clenched into fists. He was indescribably sad. The guy had hoped that today he would find happiness, but it seems that this will remain only in his dreams. He put a baseball cap on his head. He understands her. At least he tries to be understanding. The blonde exhaled and put her hand to her chest. Had they finally managed to settle things and everything had been resolved? He extended his hand to her in a friendly manner and added, if they couldn't get married, would she agree to date? Bo-ra apologized and asked again, what? It seemed that a little more of his persistence and her eye would start twitching. Returning to the office the next day, Bo-ra told Gyun Lee about her adventure. She already knew half the story, and it would be unfair to hide the rest. Her boss was pleasantly shocked. Lee drew romantic illustrations in the spirit of the romantic era. And as An Do-woon confessed, Bo-ra was the only one who had captured his heart. And then what? Gyun was bursting with impatience, her eyes burning, her hands covering her broad smile. Since Bo-ra was the first to propose to him, the development of events was determined by this. In any case, it all seemed upside down. What happened next? Gyun was bursting with curiosity. The blonde cut him off. His manager called him and he just left. At least that's the version the girl told. While Bo-ra was hesitating about how to respond to An-do-woon's proposal to date, he really did get a call about work, apologized, and left. And that's it. He managed to upset the girl. Was he just going to leave like that? There you go. Guyon thought, experiencing another wave of emotions. Why did he even look for her if he had to run off on business? How could they set a date for their first date? Lee fantasized as if she had been given the task of writing a love story script. What is she talking about? The blonde thought angrily. And Guyon couldn't stop thinking he could have done something more interesting, touched her or kissed her. And also, Bo-ra's nerves couldn't take all the twists and turns of this turbulent week, and she threw the recorder at her boss, ordering her to shut up immediately. Bo-ra turned on the nun. She shouldn't even say such things in a holy place. Lee with a red nose said that the director was just covering for An-do-won. The blonde slapped Guyon in the face with the recorder again. That's her job. The boss said she would do it. Gyeon opened the promotional poster with An Do-woon, trying to solve the riddle. Why did everything turn out this way? What if he found out that Bo-ra was Om Ji-yeon's sister? The boss clapped her hands at this guess. Lee might not know, but she and her cousin had different last names. The girl looked pissed off, and Bo-ra had never been in public, as if her existence had been hidden all along. She was a stranger in that family because her beloved grandparents loved only their own granddaughter, Ji-yeon. But Bo-ra had a different last name, Yeon. It was so unfair. As a child, she dreamed of having their last name, Om. Suddenly, the blonde laughed. She would never see him again, surely. But filming is still going on. Lee objected. Bo-ra replied that they had finished filming most of it the day before, so they would not be seeing each other anymore. Starting tomorrow. Gayeon stood there dumbfounded. Why was the director so happy? Such an interesting romantic adventure was ending in nothing. Their conversation was interrupted by a phone call to the office number. Gion picked up the phone. After talking, she asked if the director would allow filming to continue. The producer was requesting it. In response to the stormy reaction wondering why, since they had finished everything yesterday, Lee explained that it was at Do-woon's request. He wanted to reshoot some scenes. A happy Gayeon added that the actor was not joking with the director at all, and she said that she would shoot until they were satisfied with everything. Bo-ra was so surprised that she couldn't close her mouth. She was so confused and defenseless in the face of the circumstances that were falling on her. Is he already on his way here? Meanwhile, An Do-woon was pleased with his pickup skills. He was driving in his car, confident that this hunt would be very successful. This time, Yeon Bo-ra decided to take care of the conspiracy. She pinned her braids into a bun and put on glasses with round lenses. An Do-woon was not fooled. He sat down opposite her and calmly asked how long she had been wearing glasses and whether she had put them on for him. The girl was indignant. How could such a version even occur to him? That's it. How can she concentrate on her work now? She finally took off her glasses and asked how he had bribed manager Lee to let him into the director's office. Gayeon had made a firm promise to the principal not to let him see Yeon Bo-ra under any circumstances. An Do-woon simply gave her an autograph. Did she want one too? He wrote that he wished prosperity for Violet. He just laughed at the director's statement that she writes the same thing every day. Gion came in proudly holding in Do-woon's autograph. Lee explained that their signatures were not equally rare. The actor was famous for not giving autographs. Boss Lee was delighted as if she had acquired a valuable antique. It was a unique artifact. The director just cut her off with the most common female word, I see, but thought it was just banal posturing. Gayeon outlined the marketing strategy. If this is posted on social media, they will get likes, comments, and new followers. The views will skyrocket. But Bo-ra would never allow that. It seems that her employee is blinded by money. So maybe she doesn't need to pay her salary anymore. Gayeon said she would share the bonuses. The blonde folded her arms like people do when they're about to listen carefully to someone and asked Do-won why he came so early. Gayeon glanced at her smartwatch. Indeed, the shoot was scheduled for 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was only 1 o'clock. That's right, the guy confirmed, sipping black coffee. He lied that he came early to prepare for filming and get comfortable. To ensure that his acting was perfect and natural, he always familiarized himself with the set. First, Lee praised him for being a true professional. Because she had already sinfully thought that he had come for their director, the guy was embarrassed by such fuel and covered half of his face with his hands to hide his emotions because of this embarrassment. But the girls still saw that he was upset. Ra understood everything, and her subordinate rushed to ask if he was okay. At first, he said that everything was fine. Then he added that Boss Lee was right. Yesterday, the director had broken off their engagement, but he was here to try to fix things. Would she support him? And Boss Lee was happy to help. After recovering from the initial shock and regaining the ability to say anything other than exclamations, she began to beg the blonde to let her organize their wedding. Her head was filled with ideas from targeting the event on social media to booking the most prestigious hall and everything else. As well as inviting reporters, Ra was already drenched in sweat. Because Ra reacted toxically to this cash flow in Lee's imagination, she simply kicked her boss out. Finally, they were left alone, and Do-won was delighted. The director also took a coffee and sat down opposite the visitor. He asked permission to ask a question. In response to her reaction, he asked if she didn't want the wedding itself, if she didn't want to marry him. The girl spit out her coffee in surprise. How could he ask such a question? She wondered at the perfectly logical question and wiped her face. He had been tormented by this question since yesterday, But then there was no time to figure it out. She accused him of being constantly busy and even leaving her without finishing the conversation. Wasn't that so? An Do-woon hung his head and apologized for the incident. He explained that it was because he had secretly left the set. The boy looked up at the blonde with gray eyes that shone warmly with hope for forgiveness. He had actually run away during the break between shoots because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to meet her. Oh, my eyes are going to be blinded by his sparkle, the girl said, ironically hiding her excitement. It's hard to refuse such a handsome guy. She took a sip of coffee. But she is still Yeon Bo-ra. Let him know what she's like. So she put the cup down sharply. As she said yesterday, nothing will work out between them. She was very sorry that she had done such a thing without thinking. All she does is apologize and do unremarked, and he doesn't want to hear those words from her. He just wants to know the reason for her excitement and refusal to even meet him. For some reason, her cousin's whining came to mind, saying that Un-woon didn't want anything to do with her because he loves someone else, and how her grandmother swore to Ji-yeon that she would fix everything and that she would definitely marry him. Looking at his beautiful face, the girl thought that if her relatives found out about everything, she would be doomed. Maybe she is afraid of responsibility, the boy suggested. Bo-ra denied it. At that moment, Lee rushed in and apologized excitedly for interrupting, saying that there was an emergency. Princess Ji-yeon was here. She is now on the first floor, heading straight for the principal. Bo-ra jumped to her feet as if stung. The guy raised his hand like he was in school and apologized for interrupting the conversation. But who is Princess Ji? Meanwhile, Ji-yeon wondered why Yeon Bo-ra wasn't picking up the phone or answering her messages. But she couldn't run far. She had found the one who ruined her engagement. Bo-ra shouted for them to wait a minute and got up. The boy also looked back at the door where someone was banging insistently. The blonde asked Do-won to leave immediately. The girl couldn't hide her excitement. Ji-yeon's voice could be heard behind the door. Her cousin asked, "Well, what? Why isn't she opening the door? Did she suddenly decide to hide? Why did Yeon Bo-ra close the door?" Boss Lee whispered to the principal that she had closed the door. What to do? Bo-ra wondered. These two cannot meet. A silent question hung on Do-woon's face. The girl rushed to the technical room. She grabbed Do-woon's hand and dragged him after her, shouting, "Hurry up!" He blushed at this unexpected touch. The girl led him into a small room with closed blinds where the dust had not been wiped away for a long time. She explained that the situation was indeed very absurd and asked him in a pleading voice if he could sit here for a couple of minutes. It was dirty here, but she asked him to forgive her. He sat down on the sofa and looked up at her with a look of incomprehension. Bo-ra explained that the situation was extraordinary and that she would explain everything to him later. He looked at her silently. The director asked why he was silent in response, as she was worried and anxious. Suddenly, An Do-woon smiled and asked slyly, taking her hand, what would happen to him if he sat quietly? She was just about to say that he was the one who was allowing himself to do so when a voice came from behind the door again. Was she going to open it? The blonde thought for a moment. All right, what does he want in return? And she asked him not to touch her hand anymore. He said he understood everything. He wanted to eat. He suggested they go somewhere to eat together and that she treat him. Bo-ra was even more surprised that he was so calm, able to talk about food in such a situation. Her cousin shouted again to open the door immediately. Irritated, Bo-ra clenched her fists. Then she looked at the satisfied face of the young man. All right, all right. She would eat with him. He looked at her gratefully. The girl stood in the doorway, spreading her arms and saying menacingly that he dared not leave. He raised his hand and said he promised. Ji-yeon scolded her cousin. What was she doing that she needed to close the door? Bo-ra calmly replied that she was working. Of course, phew. She thought I managed to avoid the worst. Ji-yeon manipulated the fact that they didn't even have any clients. What work was she talking about? Boss Lee intervened. The director had a video conference. A video conference? Gyun confirmed. Yes, that's right. By the way, the client was very unhappy about the extra noise added, the director. Ji-yeon was surprised and asked why she hadn't been warned about this earlier. By the way, she heard someone mention her name. Were they gossiping about her? Bo Ra replied that, of course not. He doesn't even know her. And anyway, why on earth did she come here? Is she planning a wedding? Ji Yeon replied that fortunately no. Why did she suddenly get so worked up? Okay, never mind. She needed her to book a hotel for the weekend because she was going on vacation with a friend. Could she get a room on Jeju Island? The director coldly but politely refused. She could only book hotels for company employees. That's why she came to her cousin retorted. Couldn't she help? Bo Ra replied that if it was with her own money, then sure, or her grandmother's. A little whim at their expense, the director's head was starting to ache. The girl replied that her grandmother didn't need to know anything. No way, she added emphatically. Bo Ra asked why Ji Yeon replied that she was going there with her significant other, and blushed. Bo Ra asked what other significant other since she was about to get engaged. She would deal with that herself. Ji Yeon replied coldly. She only needed her help with the hotel. The girl sat down on the sofa, crossing her arms over her chest. She had just recently complained that her engagement had been broken off, and it turned out that she was having an affair. Ji Yeon replied irritably that she couldn't just fulfill a request without asking questions. This was a farewell trip, and she wanted to make more memories before they parted ways. In any case, the director didn't have time for this. She didn't even have any clients, her cousin continued to press. That's not her business. No matter how much she insists she won't help Ji Yeon, her cousin replied that maybe she should tell her about it. Had she run out of excuses? Bo Ra clenched her fists. An interesting story. The director of Violet is actually the daughter of a flighty couple. An interesting story, isn't it? Ji Yeon took a sip of coffee and quoted, "Girls who had their wedding at Violet never break up, and they are happy forever." However, what would happen if the truth came out? She could already hear everyone suggesting to their loved ones that they choose another venue. Isn't that funny? Someone born out of wedlock blesses others to build happy families. Is that fair? Oh, by the way, she has a few reporter friends. She'll have something to share with them. Bo Ra angrily slammed both fists on the table. Ji Yeon knows what she fears most and what she values most. And then the girl had to ask her boss, Lee, if they could pay for the trip. And to Ji Yeon, she said that if she wanted it so badly, then why not? Lee, with a gloomy expression on her face, made a few manipulations on her tablet and then said that she had booked a hotel room. Ji Yeon told Bo Ra that she was very pleased with her because she knew she would help. And don't tell Grandma, otherwise she knows very well what will happen. The girl blackmailed her cousin. And how long will this last? The director clutched her head. She couldn't take it anymore. This Ji-yeon, her grandmother, that's all. Do-yeon approached and said with concern that she looked very tired. Exactly, Do-yeon. The girl realized that she hadn't called the actor from the corner. He looked down at her affectionately. She said she was sorry. He must have felt very uncomfortable. She reached out her hand to him. He said it was okay. It was a new experience. Annie took the excited girl by the hand despite her recent refusal. By the way, what were they talking about? What are these threats? The guy asked. Somehow she doesn't look much like a princess, this Ji-yeon, with her rather unsophisticated behavior and rhetoric. Bo Ra was sure that the guy had heard that she was his fiancé. She said that she was her cousin. She asked if he had been spying on them. Do-woon denied it, saying he didn't have such a destructive habit. In response, he asked Bo-ri if she would keep her promise. Of course she would. When would he finish filming? She would reserve a table. The girl looked determined, but Do-woon suddenly thought for a moment, put his finger to his lips, and asked if he could change his mind. Bo Ra asked what was wrong. The girl felt herself getting nervous and asked him to tell her what he wanted first, and then she would decide whether to agree or not. Although she said it with a laugh, he didn't seem to find it funny. But he smiled and said he was asking her to go on a date with him, and the guy looked at her as if she were an impossible dream. His persistence was simply amazing. Woo-won added that they would just eat together. The girl replied that she thought it would never happen, and she crossed her fingers in refusal. He replied sadly that she was hurting him deeply. She asked what he expected and said she didn't want to hear this nonsense anymore. If he didn't want to have lunch together, Bo Ra would thank him at her discretion. She turned and left. Doo-won explained that it wasn't enough for him to just eat with her and leave it at that. He said that he probably hadn't tried hard enough for her after receiving the proposal. She stared at him and stopped. Would he keep bringing this up for a long time? The guy continued that he was much more serious than she imagined. Was that why he kept trying to get closer to her? A shadow of resentment appeared in his eyes. What kind of person was he? Why did fate bring him together with this particular girl? She remembered how when Do-woon had asked her out. Watching all this, Bori wanted to ask him one question that was bothering her. Namely, why did he continue to try so hard? She explained that her proposal was a rash act and had already apologized to him for it. Why does he act as if he is genuinely interested in her? He apologized if he had annoyed her and said that he was indeed interested in her. He just feels happy knowing that she is doing well. He got up, walked over, and took her hand. Bo-ra turned her head away to avoid his gaze and said that she was having fun and feeling good without him. Her answer amused him. But now she has a sad look on her face, the guy noted. The girl took her hand away and clenched it into a fist, looking at him quite angrily. And she said that he was just imagining things. She asked what he had heard from the recent conversation. He looked at her sadly. The girl asked what he knew about her parents. He took her hand again and said that, to be honest, he didn't care at all. He just wanted her to be okay. When Ba tried to pull her hand away, he put her palm on his heart and said that they would pretend he hadn't heard or seen anything. The girl looked into his eyes and thought it was very strange, but his words touched her deeply. Wasn't it because everyone would want to hear something like that? What were his motives for saying such things? Could she trust him? Finally, she decided to tell him that her mother was engaged. The wedding had been planned for a long time. It seemed that the preparations were going smoothly, but that was not the case. She loved someone else, her father who had always been there for her. They met in secret. And the day before the wedding, they ran away. But by then, her mother was already pregnant. They got into an accident. Of the three of them, only the child was saved. The car hit the couple. The young man was upset and said that he really didn't know how to respond to her. Ra assured him that she didn't expect any words of support, that he didn't need to say anything, because this story was in the past. An Do-woon said that in his opinion, her parents' decision should not affect her life in any way, and especially not the activities of her salon. Her father was a wedding dress designer, and this place was his creation. She said, pointing to the brand book all brides had heard at least once, that there was a brilliant designer at Violet. He was famous for his talent and that he died in an accident at a very young age. And his beloved was very happy for the rest of her life, thanks to the dress created just for her. That's why girls in fialka wedding dresses will always be happy. They live off these rumors. Do-won said that the media reported that her father was alone during the accident, but it was her grandmother who made sure of that. After all, Bo-ra's mother is her daughter. Who would want to vote? It was she who started the rumor about Violet in order to save them from bankruptcy. At first, Bo-ra thought it was just a gift from fate. But in reality, it was the hard work of her grandmother who was able to protect everyone. So she has to gradually pay off the debt, giving her 70% of her monthly income. That's the kind of person she is, the girl concluded. He stood in shock, frozen like the obverse of a coin, and looked at the blonde with sympathy. All her parents left her was debt. He asked if she was still angry with her parents. It was difficult for her to answer that question. She just wanted to protect the place they had created, because this salon was the only thing she had left. Is that why she didn't want to see him here? The guy cautiously guessed. Confused, Bo-ra asked Do-won to explain how he figured it out. The guy realized he had said too much. Did she think he was hiding something? Judging by her reaction, it was the latter. Yeon Bo-ra carefully studied the emotions reflected on her interlocutor's face. Do-woon began to explain confusedly, making up a story on the spot that had happened when he was giving her manager an autograph. Gyeon Lee told him he smiled, but the sweat on his face betrayed his nervousness. Lee said that Bo-ra only left her workplace 3 times in a month, and recently she even went on a date with a 50-year-old old man. Does she prefer older men? This simply stunned Bo-ra. She wanted to shoot him like a criminal. The director shouted at Gyeon Lee with all her might. The boss, clearing her ear because it was blocked by her scream, asked what had happened. An Do-woon made a protective gesture with his hand, feeling that Bo-ra's uncontrollable wave of anger could sweep him away too. The blonde explained that it wasn't her fault. Suddenly, Do-woon looked at his phone and said that he was sorry, but it was time for him to go to the shoot. He would leave her his number. He took a ballpoint pen and wrote it down. She should feel free to pick up the phone when he called. Why? He said that if they communicated more often, Bo-ra might get used to him faster, and they had to choose a date for their meeting. He promised two things, that he would call her and that they would see each other soon. And he laughed. Do-woon looked back at the door and reminded her again not to forget about the date. And she replied that she wouldn't. Then Bo-ra called out to him, wanting to give him a positive answer, and suddenly it dawned on her that she had just allowed him to push her around. He looked very confident, his hands on his hips, looking at her hopefully. Behind the door, Lee was talking on the phone and said she would be back in 10 minutes, agreeing with the person on the other end that she would wait for him in the library. Do-woon let Lee know that he had heard the conversation and asked if it was her nephew or younger brother. She said no. It was her son. He said he didn't know she was married. The woman said no, she wasn't married. There was a man she truly loved. But it turned out that he had two families. She found out about this when she was already expecting a son. As a result, she refused to marry him, but not the child. It was then that she met the director of Violet for the first time, who offered her to go with her. She decided to take responsibility for Miss Do-gyun's happiness, because Violet would make all the girls happy. Everyone knows that this is the slogan of their salon. A truly wonderful director, Do-eun concluded with a smile. Gaeon confirmed. Of course, because she is very cool, she immediately cuts off suspicious things. He asked excitedly what she was talking about. Lee said, pressing the elevator button, that she could hear everything behind the door. And she doesn't remember telling him about the director's date. How did he find out about it? He tensed up as if he had swallowed a ruler. When he recovered, he held the elevator doors as they were closing and said that she had misunderstood him and apologized. In fact, before visiting the salon for the shoot, he had already met her, and more than once. And once he received such an offer, he decided to take a chance. He knew he would regret it if he missed this opportunity, Lee said thoughtfully. So it turns out he already had an idea about her director. Do-eun said that it was not yet time to talk about it, but he would definitely tell her everything later. And he asked if she would keep Bo-ri's secret. Gaeon joined in the game and replied that she would think about it because, in her opinion, he was still suspicious. But why did he tell her about it? Couldn't he have pretended he didn't understand something? Oh, that? Because Bo-ra's main support is Gyun Lee. The boss was indignant. She's not that simple. He promised her that if Miss Gaeon helped him, he would become an exclusive model for Violet for the rest of his life and even sign a contract. So, would she agree to cooperate now? The next morning, Bo-ra woke up to a phone call. In a sleepy voice, she answered, "Hello." And she heard in response, "How about a date today?" She looked at the phone screen excitedly. How did he get her number? Why was he calling? He explained that as soon as he opened his eyes, he realized he missed her and decided to call. They had agreed on a date last week. How about today? She was busy. He said she was making him suffer in anticipation. She replied that he could suffer like that for the rest of his life until he died. If he had nothing else to say, she was hanging up. "Hey, Yan Bo-ra," came from behind the door. "Look who she's been chatting with since early morning." Ji-yeon burst into the room. Bo-ra replied that she had heard something. "What happened? Why haven't we heard back from the hotel she mentioned?" her cousin asked. The blonde looked at her with hostility. Bo-ra was just about to mention that she sent the reservation by email. She needs to confirm it as soon as possible. It's better to do everything before the two families meet the younger girl planned. Yes, and why isn't Do-woon responding? Is he busy filming the series? Has Yeon Bo-ra heard anything about it? Ji-yeon asked, more to annoy her sister than anything else. No, she hadn't heard anything. Oh, what could she possibly know? Better go ask Grandma. Yeon Bo-ra couldn't admit it. Just like her rival, Ji-young, she came from a well-known family, just like her father had been in her mother's life. She saw that she had received a message from An Do-woon. and now she had become an obstacle for the two of them. So tonight they agreed to officially meet each other's families. And Do-woon and our Ji-yeon grandma said over dinner, they'll start right away with choosing a date. Bo-ra grimaced at this insincerity like Wednesday on Friday. Her face broke out in a profuse sweat and she froze with her spoon. With a cry of feigned joy, the granddaughter threw herself into her grandmother's arms and asked if she would really marry And Do-woon. The grandmother replied that of course she would do everything to make it happen. Ji-yeon said she was the best. Meanwhile, Bora sat nearby, very upset, and did not touch her food. The grandmother was delighted and asked why Ji-yeon was so happy. Well, it's no wonder, because she will finally meet him. The happy girl ran out with the intention of going to prepare for the meeting. Bora sadly continued to pick at her breakfast, but couldn't swallow anything. A lump in her throat prevented her. The blonde thanked her for breakfast and got ready to leave. The grandmother asked if she had forgotten to apologize to Mr. Park. She told her to make an appointment and apologize. This time, she would not tolerate her antics. As Bo-ra descended the stairs, she heard Ji-yeon loudly boasting to someone on the phone that she was marrying An Do-woon in May. She would be the best bride of the season. She was asked if she meant May of next year. In response, Ji-yeon asked if her interlocutor had lost her mind. Of course, this year. And she asked Bo-ra if she could change the date. The women asked the director of the Violet Salon when she herself would get married. If she worked so much, she would miss the best time. Bo-ra laughed pretentiously as soon as she met a worthy partner. One of the women said that it wouldn't be long now, and the other confirmed that it was true. Gyeon Lee approached and whispered something quietly in the director's ear. The interlocutors guessed that something had happened. Bo-ra smiled and said she had to excuse herself because she had to rush off to see an urgent client. She introduced Manager Lee to the clients and said that she would be able to draw up the plan they needed. She agreed to arrange a tea party next time. Her ability to restrain negative emotions and be polite, which she had learned from an early age, was very helpful in her work. The girl flew like the wind. Her cheeks flushed. The appearance of her cousin's friend did not bode well. Lee warned that Kim So-ra, the client who had come, was on behalf of Ji-yeon. The dark-haired girl sat on the sofa and leafed through the Violet brand book. The visitor explained that she had been sent here with the words that everything had already been agreed upon. Bo-ra was surprised. What did she mean? They had no prior agreements with her cousin. The blonde's eyes narrowed in anticipation of trouble, so she prepared herself internally for a fight. The dark-haired girl replied that there was no need to be so surprised, as she was also a captive bird. She herself knew and understood that Ji-yeon always did everything her own way. For example, she suddenly asked to postpone the wedding date. Although she didn't want to, she still had to. It was unpleasant for her. Bo-ra apologized, but the salon was unable to meet these requirements. Besides, Violet was not a place where Ji-yeon's commands were obeyed. Bo-ra was the director of the salon, not her slave. The dark-haired girl pursed her lips and looked like a cat that had just been poked in her eye. It seemed that Kim So-ra was indignant. Bo-ra clenched her fists. The blonde decided to end the conversation and said that the situation was difficult, but there was nothing she could do to help. Kim So-ra said that if she refused, Ji-yeon had told her to convey this. She is very sorry, but she will definitely get married. And one more thing. Does Yeon Bo-ra really think she can stand up to her? The blonde's pupils narrowed at this insolent statement. Kim So-ra asked if she should convey the refusal. Bo-ra was speechless with anger. The brunette said she would take her silence as consent and left. The date of the ceremony must be set as soon as possible. Ra hoped that she would finally be free once Ji-yeon got married. What a cruel deception. She was nothing more than a toy to be used. The girl's face was covered in cold sweat. Now she had lost her patience. She called her cousin. Her cousin asked what Bo-ra wanted because she was busy. She was about to have her hair done. Had her friend visited her today? She should say thank you. She was advertising her salon. In response, an angry Bo-ra snapped, asking if she had completely lost her mind. Was she okay in the head? Why was she suddenly acting like this? Had she gone crazy? How long would she continue to behave like this? When will she finally leave her alone? How long does she have to indulge her whims? She replied, has her sister completely lost her mind? She'll tell her grandmother everything. Let her tell. She wasn't going to put up with this anymore. And what would she do? Came the voice from the receiver. Because Ra would do everything in her power to stop her. She would make Ji-yeon miserable by any means necessary, using every tool at her disposal. The angry blonde rushed around the office like a fury and bumped into An Da-woon, who was sitting and reading. Bo-ra promised her cousin that she would make her life hell. Do-woon was upset that his beloved was being insulted. Ji-yeon told Bo-ra to think with her head because whatever she did, it would be completely futile. The blonde hung up the phone. The actor apologized for barging into the office when she wasn't there. He said he thought she wasn't feeling well today. He hugged her head and shoulder, looking at her with sympathy. He felt like he needed to check on her. Who made her cry? The guy began to wipe the tears from her cheeks. At that moment, the girl thought that An Da-woon always came unexpectedly. He asked again what had happened, and it occurred to her that he didn't just show up unexpectedly, but precisely when she needed comfort. He apologized that he had to leave because he had a meeting scheduled for today. He suggested meeting in the evening. She addressed him by name in an emphatically polite manner. Just like then, she wanted to be selfish. If she asked him not to leave her, how would he react? He was stunned by the surprise. She held his jacket sleeve and explained that she didn't want to let him go today. Could he stay with her without asking any questions? The girl was determined not to let him go to Ji-yeon today. He joked, was she trying to seduce him? Bo-ra asked what if she was. Did he think she was deceiving him? He replied with a laugh. Well, a little. Apparently, women who need support don't know how to control themselves in moments of weakness. Tears were still visible in her eyes. He continued to wipe them away and said that in such cases, it was enough to say, don't go. He gently took her chin in his hand, looked into her big eyes, and asked her to try saying, don't go, herself. The strong, proud woman now looked like a little child in need of protection. It seemed that this guy knew a lot about women's emotions. He looked at her expectantly, and she said it. She didn't want Do-woon to leave. That was it. Now he wouldn't leave? He asked for a moment to talk it over. Do-woon immediately called. He apologized and said he had to cancel today's meeting. They asked him why. Because he began to explain the circumstances that had arisen were much more important to him. An Do-woon sat down next to the upset girl. He understood that now he would have to listen to her. He waited until she had cried her heart out. However, she said that she had not intended to cry, but he noticed that her eyes were very red. She was angry that she had said before that she never cried at work. He simply asked patiently about the reason for her despair. She began to explain that people come here to become happy. If the salon director cries, all efforts will be in vain. He listened very attentively. There was so much compassion in his gaze that it seemed as if he was embracing her with his eyes. Bo-ra explained further, that's why there's no room for sadness here. Because she made that decision. It sounded like a mantra for self-hypnosis. Noticing how intently the guy was looking at her, she asked why he was looking at her like that. He said she looked very cool right now. She said that it was very unexpected and asked if it was okay that he had recently canceled their meeting. There was noticeable excitement in her voice and expression. He lied that it was nothing important, so there was nothing to worry about. Besides, what he had been waiting for so long had finally happened, and he hugged the girl. Specifically, he explained Bo-ra had taken a step towards him. The girl understood everything. A question arose in her mind. How long had he been waiting? He promised her that he would be there for her. In return, he asked her not to run away as she had done when he proposed to her. She looked trustingly into his eyes and promised that she would never run away from him again. Do-woon also asked her not to push him away anymore. She nodded in agreement. To reinforce the effect, he asked her permission to check if she would push him away again. She asked how. He said like this and leaned in to kiss her. Now he had plenty of time. What would she like to do? The girl looked at him as if spellbound. This was the first time this had ever happened in her life. Waking up in the morning, Bo-ra immediately began to hate herself and reproach herself for what had happened and how it had happened. She was probably afraid of the consequences of her actions. She noticed the ring on her finger. What had she done to An De-woon this time? Getting drunk to the point of losing your pulse is like being reborn, Bo-ra concluded. She felt a rush of heat. She pulled the blanket over herself and scolded herself incessantly for being reckless. Nothing came to mind. How ashamed she was of her expressive behavior. She couldn't have stayed with him in the same bed. But no, surely not. She tried to reconstruct the events in her mind from the very beginning. To prevent him from going to meet her family, she stopped him. Then they kissed. Then they went out to dinner together. She also remembers how she ended up with alcohol in her hand. He asked if she could really drink that much. She said she couldn't handle alcohol well. Bo-ra assured him that she was fine. And does he know why? Because today, for the first time, she really got that Princess Ji-yeon. The girl laughed with satisfaction. Hidden hostility sometimes seems pleasant. At least it's more pleasant than outright anger. On a day like this, a toast is a must. It seems to have dawned on him what she was talking about. She asked An Do-woon if he still didn't know about her family circumstances. Yeon Bo-ra, running her finger along the wet rim of the glass and making it sound, said that she would tell him everything now. The voice of reason told her to stop and not do it, but she still asked the guy to make sure she didn't go home today. The girl's cheeks turned pink. She suddenly looked older. She sent the voice of reason far away into space so she wouldn't hear its demands to stop immediately. Crazy Yeon Bo-ra, the girl hit herself on the head. She couldn't tell him everything. Could she? What else had she done? That's what happens to secretive people. Sooner or later, they lose it. I wonder why my memories stop at this point. She remembered saying she didn't want to go home. Suddenly, a woman's voice asked her if she was awake yet. Or maybe this isn't An Do-woon's house at all? What is this girl doing here? Who is she? Is An Do-woon's girlfriend? What if he's a womanizer? Did she really trust the wrong person? Bo-ra imagined her with Do-woon. Stop, stop, stop. The girl noticed that Bo-ra was already encrypting something and said that everything was wrong. She doesn't know what, but she immediately says, definitely not. Not right? Yes, not right? Her name is Yoon Jong-ah, just an assistant. She should stop making things up. Bo-ra laughed loudly. Oh, what a disgrace she has known An Do-woon for so long. But she has already misunderstood, distorted, and twisted so many things. But Yoon Jong-ah asked if she was afraid that she hadn't warned her family. They don't know her address, so they brought her here right away. But she's worried? Bo-ra blushed. She laughed and said that everything was fine. They all don't care whether she's at home or not. She thought that they wouldn't even take her into account compared to the first meeting of the families. She apologized and said it was time for her to leave. It seems she needs to change her clothes. The assistant said there are no clothes here. Why? Well, she felt sick as soon as she arrived here. She is very sorry. But if she needed anything, the assistant would try to help. She would fix everything. At breakfast, Jung-ah said that she had just tidied up. Everything is fine. Do-yeon-opi got the worst of it. Bo-ra objected that not everything was fine, and the girls laughed. After all, she showed up so late and the assistant helped her. Yoon Jong-ah explained that they live next door to each other, so they sometimes visit each other at any time of the day. Don't read too much into it. It's just work. It's all just work. Her brother is An Do-woon's manager, and because of their work, they live nearby. She shouldn't worry, just eat Do-woon's. Father had prepared everything and repeated several times that she should take care of her after she woke up. Where is he? He's on a shoot. He'll be back soon. She couldn't be left alone. Chaos could ensue. So she promised him she would stay here with Bo-ra. The blonde said she hadn't shown herself in the best light. The assistant assured her that it was nothing serious. The main thing was that she didn't make up anything else because she thought he was bringing other women to his place. They were very worried. That impression remained. Bo-ra devoured the sprouted seeds with great pleasure. She found them very tasty. She thought that An Do-woon was wonderful. The assistant asked how long they had been dating. The girl didn't know how to answer that question. She said that they weren't in a relationship yet. The girl was surprised. That's impossible. Why did she leave Oppa? Didn't she like him on the blind date? It feels like deja vu, Bo-ra thought, but they had met a few months ago at a blind date in a cafe. She was sure they were dating. What was she talking about? She hadn't been on a date with An De-woon. No less than a month had passed since they met. It was strange because that's what he told her. But no matter how hard Bo Ra tried to remember, the date was definitely not with An De-woon. Why did he say that? Couldn't Do-woon have misspoken? No. He said it was the director of Violet Yeon Bo Ra. There were many inconsistencies starting with the moment he easily accepted her proposal. What was he hiding? Jong-ah said that Oppa asked her to stay. Bo Ra had to go to work. She asked her to convey her apologies to An Do-woon for last night, and she heard him exclaim, he wanted to come earlier, but the filming. But why is she in front of the house? Maybe she's waiting for him. Did she want to see him? Well, she doesn't know. Of course, she was waiting for him. The girl mentally noted that he was quite familiar, and Do-woon put her in the car to take her away. The same ring she wore on her finger sparkled on his finger. He said sadly that for someone who had been looking forward to the meeting, she seemed too tense. She even turned away. She didn't seem happy to see him. Didn't she remember? When she put the ring on his finger, she told him to wear it for the rest of his life, never taking it off. He took it as a proposal and agreed. Was she going to take her words back again? Oh, memories were starting to come back. She gave free rein to her selfishness. She thanked him for staying with her that evening. She decided not to avoid him and to show it because she was still falling in love with him. And she kissed him. The day before at the mall, a drunk Bo Ra asked if he wanted matching rings with her. He said that, in his opinion, she had had a little too much to drink, and she cheerfully said that everything was fine. Then she put a ring on his finger and told him to wear it for the rest of his life without taking it off. And she asked him to promise. Now she has a pair too. No matter how you look at it, it's a confession. Even though she was drunk, she meant it sincerely. Would she really say she had changed her mind now? For the second time? That's not possible. Not someone else but her. The director of Fialka. It seems she's starting to remember, she said aloud. Finally. He was already afraid that she would take back this confession too. Well, she allowed him to take care of her. He brought her to work, and Bo Ra asked about the filming of the drama that day. He said yes, the filming would take a long time, and it would be every day. He said it was a shame to part ways like this, but at least now he had hope. They laughed at how unusual it was to hear words of love. She had never heard them from anyone before. She grew up seeing only criticism and quarrels. The head of the Serum Corporation treated her like a criminal. Ji-yeon naturally grew up thinking the same way. That's why listening to this man, she feels a thirst, a feeling that makes her want this relationship to continue. But is their relationship even viable? There are still many unresolved issues between them. This handsome man who is officially Ji-yeon's fiancé, as the whole world knows. Her cousin told everyone. Moreover, her blood relative will never give up what she considers hers and has the constant support of her grandmother, who is influential in society. And his true intentions are still a mystery to her. She doesn't know enough about what kind of person he is. First of all, she needs to deal with Ji-yeon and then everything else. Well, more or less decided, he asked if Bo Ra would hold his hand like that in company. No, when did he grab her? No way, that's not possible. If they walk around like that everywhere, unnecessary rumors will start. And he wanted to show off. Even if it's true, it's not possible. At first, they will meet secretly, at least until filming is complete. The blonde demanded that Do-woon keep his promise. Did he understand? Yes, no problem. He wouldn't say that they were dating. Even though An Do-woon said so, could he be trusted? It was obvious that in just one day, he had managed to cause a lot of trouble. What does this mean? Ji-yeon repeated watching the TV report. Couldn't Do-woon be dating someone? The media reported that the handsome An Do-woon had found his soulmate. Is everything settled? Gyun-lee asked the director. Bo Ra asked what exactly she wanted to know. Well, about the fact that she left in tears with An Do-woon the day before. Who was crying? Yeon Bo Ra? Had she forgotten that no one ever cries at Violet? It's corporate ethics. Then Gyun said she saw her come to work with him. Bo Ra lied that they had met by chance in the parking lot and blushed deeply. Why does the video recording show a completely different situation? Video recording? Of course, the two people are glued together. Bo-ra exclaimed. Was all this filmed? Gyun-lee replied that yes. Of course it's hard to find a place in the salon where there are no cameras. If she says so, she will remove all traces of Induan's presence here. But if she still needed a blind spot, she should use the fire escape. The director was in shock. She admitted that in any case, she had seriously decided to start dating him. But Kyung knows that she didn't sleep at home last night. This became known because the housekeeper called. She said that the situation at home was not the best, and the director did not come home to sleep. And then the appearance of Princess Ji-yeon in the salon turned everything upside down. Lee seriously concluded that her beloved would surely be upset. Bo-ra said that she was not in the mood for Lee Do-gyun's spicy jokes. Bo-ra asked the manager, "Is that happening outside?" Lee smiled conspiratorially. Today, Ahn Do-yoon is giving an interview to promote the drama she wants to watch. So announced the journalist today, we have the lead actor of CHG's new drama, First Time Married. Please welcome Ahn Do-yoon. The journalist handed the microphone to Ahn Do-yoon and asked him to greet the viewers. He introduced himself as expected and said he was happy to meet her. The journalist said that Induan has a nickname among the people, the Prince of Romance. People in the crowd clicked their cameras and shouted that they loved Po. He is also known for never being involved in scandals. Are love stories boring to him because he only acts in this genre? The journalist asked. He recently found love, he said, looking slyly at the railing where Bo-ra was standing. The director of Violet was stunned. Not only did he break his promise to her, he blabbed about it to the whole world. Since he had recently fallen in love, he had to be very careful. It seemed to be more difficult than just playing a role in a romantic drama. With this confession, he had just broken hundreds of hearts, and he asked the public to support him. People shouted to Oppa that he could do whatever he wanted. He was so handsome, of course they would support him. But Bo-ra was angry. He had made her a promise that very morning. What was he thinking? That's how it is said, Kyung-lee. When the interview comes out, Ji-young will be furious. Is she worried? Ji-yeon and her grandmother had probably already read the article Bo-ra thought as she crossed the threshold of her house. Besides, she hadn't spent the night at home. Although Gaeon Lee said she could say she had spent the night at her place, she tried to calm herself down because she had already made up her mind, and even if she went in, nothing would change. At that moment, she heard Ji-yeon talking on the phone and claiming that he didn't have a girlfriend. It's just a drama advertisement. Don't spread stupid rumors. And Ji-yeon threw the phone on the floor with an angry exclamation that Kim So-ra was spreading her rumors everywhere. She just won't calm down. Where's she looking? Ji-yeon said to her sister. Did she come here to mock us? She ignores her too and thinks she has the right to do so? Bo-ra told Ji-yeon to stop venting her anger on her immediately. Does Bo-ra really think she doesn't know her well? She probably read the article, got excited, and came. It's interesting to see how comical her situation is. What will happen next? The grandmother will still do everything she can to make the wedding happen, because Ra replied that it had nothing to do with her, so she should shut up. Oh, really? She didn't sleep at home last night? Where did she get the courage not to come home to sleep? It's clear as day that she completely forgot that her grandmother forbade her from sleeping outside the house. But now it's clear that she was with a man. Ji-yeon concluded, "What kind of slander is this?" Bo-ra snorted. It's amazing how she behaves just like her mother. What does she know to make such a claim? Bo-ra raged. She should apologize immediately. But her cousin said that there was no need to apologize. It's the truth. She herself knows that this is the reason for her grandmother's hostility. To go crazy over a man and even abandon her family for him? Maybe she thinks it was different, the girl teased. Bo-ra pulled herself together and said, that was enough, let's end this. But Ji-yeon wouldn't let up. How can we end this? Maybe the problem was her existence from the very beginning. She didn't even think about how many problems she and her mother had caused their family. That she even hated living in the same house with someone like her? Well, let her get out of here herself. Yeon Bo-ra replied irritably. If she hated it so much, she should go to her beloved. And Yeon Bo-ra brought up a solid argument. She played a recording of their conversation about Ji-yeon planning to spend the night in a hotel with her lover, and she asked coldly, "So what are they going to do?" "It seems that this is enough to expose her," the blonde said maliciously. You should have seen the younger sister's anger. She was shaking with rage, accusing Bo-ra of having completely lost her mind. Her next reaction was to try to snatch the phone from her sister. What a sly fox! How dare she? The blonde told her in an icy tone to behave herself and grabbed the hand that was swinging to pull her hair. Bo-ra understands perfectly well that she is not thinking straight right now, but she will not allow herself to be caught. And she, as she said, spent the night at Lee Do-gyun's place. So should she believe her words? It's obvious that she just persuaded her subordinate. It's not that she's wrong, Bo-ra thought to herself. It's a good thing she discussed their version with Lee in advance. So maybe they should call Lee Do-gyun. Oh, and FYI, there's no point in deleting the audio recording from the phone because she already made a backup copy. She was really angry. Oh, let her stay with her. Ji-yeon raged. Next time, it won't end there, Bo-ra warned and stuck out her tongue. The blonde thought that she needed to deal with all this quickly so that she could breathe easier. Well, first of all, she would have to deal with the inspections. Her grandmother sent a message saying that she was waiting for the results of her meeting with Chairman Park. If everything worked out with Park, and Do-woo would get the green light, and there was a message from him asking how she slept. When he met her, he said he missed her so much he didn't sleep all night. He thought he would go crazy. His appearance was a surprise to her. She laughed. He startled her. How long had he been there? He replied that he was always waiting for her. Then he asked why they shouldn't get married. She was frightened and asked how he could talk about such personal things in such an open place. He joked that he was rehearsing his lines for filming, and then he asked if Bo-ra's heart was fluttering. Why would that be? Maybe she was just feeling cheerful. In fact, he liked seeing her face in the morning. Mornings were always so difficult, he didn't feel like doing anything. But lately, his days had become brighter, and he took her hand and pulled her close. Thanks to her, thanks to Bo-ra. The girl said she thought it was wonderful that everything was going so well for him. But could they just stand there like that? He stepped back and joked that next time he would choose a more secluded place. She played along. If he couldn't find one, she had her office. Bo-ra muttered that they had recharged their energy and could go about their business, but at a distance in case someone saw them. But it seemed that he had no intention of letting go of her hand. Would it really cause a scandal if they held hands? Kim So-ra came in and apologized for being late. She made excuses saying there were too many cars on the road. It's a nice neighborhood, but the only problem is traffic jams, right? Bo-ra coldly replied that other clients arrive on time. There is not much time, so everything has to be decided very quickly. If there was a dress here that interested her, she should say so, and she would bring the rest based on that style. Kim So-ra asked the director if An Do-un was filming here. Had she seen him? Bo-ra said that filming didn't happen often in her office. Does Bo-ra know that An Do-woon left Ji-yeon and started dating someone else? Maybe she knows who the actress is that the actor is in love with? Bo-ra said she knew nothing about the actors' personal lives. Only reporters would know such things. In any case, this is a wedding salon, Bo-ra said. We need to hurry up with the fitting. They have to be done by 11 in the morning. Has she already chosen a dress? No, she's still looking. Kim So-ra continued to ask if the director herself was still unmarried. Noticing her interlocutor's surprise, she explained that Ji-yeon didn't talk about her much, so she became curious to know if she had a boyfriend. Bo-ra suspected that Ji-yeon had set her up to get personal info from So-ru. Why all of a sudden? She looked suspiciously at the dark-haired girl. No reason she could get herself into trouble if something suddenly reached Ji's ears, so she laughed and said she didn't even know what to say to her. Yeon Lee came in and addressed the director. She would finish here herself because a new client had arrived. Bo-ra praised her subordinate with a nod. Kim So-ra pouted. Yeon arrived just in time. Well, she was counting on manager Lee's help. The bride denied that it was the director's responsibility. Lee said that she shouldn't have been 40 minutes late. It was like a battle between a tiger and a dragon. They can't disrupt the entire salon schedule because of one bride. They have a very tight schedule. So, will they finish with her today? Fortunately, the director figured out how to make up for the delay. They will start with choosing a dress. Okay, in that case, she will look at the dresses again. Bo-ra assured her that Lee Do-gyun was the pride of Violet, so she would go in that case. And it would be great if she could find a dress that the bride-to-be would like. Oh, what a trial Ji-yeon had put her through. Bo-ra thought as she drank her coffee. She had been on edge since early morning and was already tired. If this continued, her luck would evaporate. On Do-woon appeared out of nowhere and asked what had happened. He had shown up unexpectedly again. The girl thought that just looking at his handsome face was enough to make her fatigue slowly disappear. Why did he come? He said he wanted to see her before leaving. He missed her and took her hand. What if they get caught? It's okay. The film crew is in a separate building. The rest of their employees are at lunch. The boss is also at work. Did he even find out when their lunch break was? Are you an employee of Violet? The girl joked. He said it wasn't that hard to find out. He apologized and picked up the phone. It was his assistant, Jean A. Bo-ra noticed for the first time that he was on familiar terms with someone. You can immediately feel that the relationship is becoming closer. He hung up the phone and apologized to Bo-roy. It seemed that it was time for him to go and attend to his business. But it was so difficult to leave seeing that she couldn't take her eyes off him. He wanted to stay a little longer. And she suggested, shouldn't they both switch to more informal communication? After all, they were the same age and were dating. He was clearly a little surprised by her suggestion. Therefore, it seems that small changes would not hurt. The girl blushed like a crab from taking another step towards rapprochement. Of course, he agreed, although the problem was that it felt like a memorable moment. And now he was worried about what to talk about. A memorable moment? He can say the same things he usually says. It's not a radical change. In that case, he would say this. He loves her, his Yeon Bo-ru. He said it simply, sincerely, and tenderly, touching her hair. His words seemed to cause a real explosion in her. He only changed his manner of communication a little. But why is the difference so huge? Change. It seems that polite address was more comfortable. Was the atmosphere around Do-woon like this from the beginning? He asked why she didn't like him addressing her informally. He handed her a handkerchief. She thanked him and said that, no, it wasn't unpleasant. It was just too unusual for her, and she laughed. The moment An Du-won said her name, she realized that her heart was desperately drawn to this affectionate man. She liked communicating informally, liked being around him, but in order to continue their relationship, some issues had to be resolved. She was reminded of this by a text message from her grandmother saying that she had already made arrangements with Mr. Park and chosen her favorite place in the cafe. And now she should go there without further ado. Pak said that at first they don't listen to adults, and then they always regret it. He sat at the table, his arms crossed pompously over his chest. A cup of black coffee stood in front of him. There was no need for a long conversation. They had to start right away with choosing a wedding date. He thought a month was enough time to prepare. Pak said this with a smile and a cheerful tone. Bo replied that no, she did not want to. He asked why she had come here then. And like last time, he slammed his fist on the table. She said she needed to put an end to this herself. She realized that she couldn't move on while avoiding this problem. From childhood to the present day, the word she heard most often was endure. Even when she was insulted, she swallowed her pride and kept everything to herself. But that's just nonsense. He asked, how is that nonsense? That's how it's nonsense. She realized that now she had become someone who would not obey harsh words. There is a person who loves and appreciates her for who she is. So shouldn't she also change a little? The girl said this with a confident smile and start to appreciate herself. Let him try to find another bride. She demonstratively got up from the table. Because she was too unsuitable a candidate for such a gentleman, he was boiling with rage. Did she really think he would leave her alone? Pak shouted that Ahm's had apologized to him so much that he tried to give Bo-ri a second chance. But just one look at this insolent girl was enough to make him sick. He pointed his finger at her, just like his cousin. Who knows, maybe it's not her, but him? The girl suggested, glancing at him sideways. That's called morality. He called her an arrogant pagan and pointed his finger at her again. Who was she to say such things? Suddenly, as he raised his hand with the glass above the girl, someone stopped him. A woman's hand with black manicured nails grabbed his wrist and stopped his hand so that he wouldn't throw the glass at Bo Rai. Was he going to hit her or pour water on her? Pak's face was contorted and his pupils narrowed in surprise. The dark-haired young woman looked slyly at the old man. She asked if he wasn't ashamed. He became even angrier. Let him go immediately. She let go, saying that he could relax. They should live peacefully and addressed him as Mr. Young and... The dark-haired stranger, still holding Pak's hand, continued. This girl is a young lady. Did he really think it was okay to treat her like that? Especially in such a crowded place. He replied maliciously that she could have ignored him. It was none of her business how he behaved. The stranger just patted the man on the shoulder. Pak apologized to the stranger if he had caused any inconvenience, but it was his personal business, and she should not interfere. The woman replied that no, she was a fair person. She took her smartphone out of her pants pocket. She showed him the news of the day on her phone, which said that someone was meeting with President Park from a materials manufacturing company. She asked him if it was true. He was shocked to find himself in the scandalous news. He was extremely angry and surprised at the same time. He was so excited that he almost crushed the glass he was still clutching in his hand. What a disgrace! The dark-haired woman teased a grown man, insulting a young girl the same age as his daughter. What will happen if people find out about this? One video will make the company famous, won't it? Anger was bursting out of the man. His face was covered in disgusting sweat. On top of that, he was about to resort to violence. She thought she had made an interesting film. He turned pale at this news. Beat her? Maybe he wants to know the taste of humiliation? He couldn't even say what he thought he should do next. So strong was his rage that it overwhelmed all other emotions. This marriage is not valid. She will tell the head of about the cancellation of the wedding. He yelled at Bo Ru not to dare say anything unnecessary. The woman cheerfully teased the man, telling him to at least leave a glass before leaving. The blonde's eyes widened in surprise. Both women silently watched the man leave. Bo Ra thanked the woman for helping her. Thanks to her, everything was fine. She herself was confused by his uncontrolled aggression. The stranger said that it was just too noisy here. Don't take it to heart. Okay, the blonde asked if they had met before. Her face seemed very familiar to her. She apologized for not introducing herself yet. She was On Do-woon's sister. Do-woon himself was reading the script in the film crew's minibus. He was distracted by a message that came to his phone. He looked to see who it was from. The message probably said that something had happened to his girlfriend. What's more, it was written by his sister, who was supposed to be abroad. After reading it, he shouted to the driver, Chan, that they had to go to a cafe immediately. The young man was very excited and urged the driver to hurry up the whole way. Sister Doan told Bo-ri that thanks to her, her brother was able to quickly finish his urgent tasks for the day. That's why she wanted to take a photo together so badly, the blonde realized. Meanwhile, the dark-haired girl said that she was Do-won's older sister. Her name was Se-ra. She worked in international law. The atmosphere in her company was relaxed, and Bo-ra quickly forgot about the unpleasant incident. The woman asked if Do-won had mentioned that he had 4 sisters. Bo-ra replied that he hadn't said anything in particular. She remembered how her grandmother had told Ji-yeon about it, and her cousin said she didn't like it. Don't worry, Do-won's sister said, as if reading her thoughts. She's not going to be a mean sister-in-law. Bo-ra is a regular at her husband's coffee shop. That's why she wants to be friends. So it's her husband's coffee shop? Bo-ra probably doesn't know that the owner is in Do-won's brother-in-law. What a small world, thought the blonde. But she won't be so easily convinced. She asked the man who approached them with a tray if they were really family. He apologized and said he didn't mean to shock her. They were having a wonderful time here, not like usual, right? Of course, she was his brother-in-law's beloved. She was so surprised and excited that she started sweating. He ran up to her with a towel and asked if she was okay. She just laughed. She couldn't understand. This place was her favorite coffee shop. All the meetings arranged by her grandmother took place here. Instead of leaving bad memories all over Seoul, she decided to keep them in one place. the girl thought, wiping her face. But she still couldn't believe that this establishment belonged to the An Do-un family. The cafe owner and his wife laughed heartily. Had they been watching Bo-ru all these years? How did her boyfriend know her? It's all so complicated. She wants to ask him right now, to be honest. And then, like in a fairy tale, he appeared next to her at her request. His face was very agitated. Everyone looked at An Do-woon with concern. Her face was flushed and her eyes asked how much he knew about her. He began to ask if she was all right. She must be scared. His sister may have given her a choice. No, she helped her. He was troubled by the question of why this had happened. It was strange. Who dared to attack his beloved? Everything was fine. There was just one crazy old man who was causing trouble by bothering Bo-ri. The main character of the incident smiled faintly to reassure An-duan that everything was fine. So An-se-ra just provided prompt professional assistance. Her sister assured her, winking at the girl. Is that how it was, Bo-ra? The lawyer decided to enlist the support of the girl she had saved. Yes, that's exactly how it was, Bo-ra replied. And An-duan's sister looked very cool then? Thank God, the boy sighed with relief. His sister asked if he wanted her to report the incident to the court as an international lawyer. Do-un asked if his sister had said anything in particular. He hoped she hadn't felt uncomfortable. Bo-ra nodded but did not answer immediately. A whole cascade of questions arose in her mind. Was it all true? Did his sister know her well? Perhaps An-duan knew everything about her? Could she ask about it now? Should she refrain from sharing information about herself and Ji-yeon? She needed to think before acting. Should she follow the plan? Should she question Ji-yeon? Nothing she said aloud except for talking about his sister and laughed. Thank God he was worried about his family's peculiarities, so she shouldn't come here without him. His sister made a remark. It was rude to talk as if she wasn't there. Bo-ra thought about how similar they were. However, that's not important right now, said Do-woon. His sister had returned from America, but she hadn't told him anything. Did she come on her own? Yes, she came back last night and wanted to talk to both of them. Okay, since yesterday, so why didn't she call him? Because I was tired and wanted to sleep, she replied to her brother with a sidelong glance. Then why didn't her husband say so? Well, it's great that my sister is back, Do-woon rejoiced. A lot of time had passed. Cafe owner Yoo Joo-ha, awkwardly rubbing his neck, explained that he had only found out about the woman's return today. An-se-ra reminded him again that she was here on her own and could take care of herself. It seemed that this was starting to annoy her, but now they had to go. An-duan began to say goodbye, and An-se-ra hadn't seen her husband in a long time. They needed to spend time together. Yeah, spend time together. It was clear this should probably be interpreted as the young people wanting to be alone. An-se-ra joked. All right. She promised Bo-ri they would see each other again and waved to her. The blonde did the same. So what's the reason her husband asked An-se-ra's sister? What is he talking about? The reason she came here without telling him? She told him it was because they hadn't seen each other in a long time. So she came. He knows An-se-ra. Well, did she come back because of that day? And Sari's face clouded over. Her husband, Yoo Joo-ha, was right as always. Do-woon expressed his sympathy to Bo-ri for the difficult experience she had gone through today and apologized, saying he would not let something like this happen again. It's okay, it was just a coincidence. Nothing special, said the girl. Thank you for your help. So all his sisters are abroad? She heard that he came here alone. Yes, his whole family lives in other countries. There are many reasons for that. Besides, she needs to know something. She heard the phone ring and apologized. It was manager Gyeon Lee calling. Her friend asked if the director could talk. Now Bo-ra asked if something had happened. The girl said she had tried to solve the problem, but so far without success, Bo-ra needed to go home. The atmosphere there was very strange. Something was wrong. Apparently, the man had said something. She would go. All right. Bo-ra thanked manager Lee and hung up the phone. Do-un asked if it was okay for her to go alone. She asked if they could go together. He said yes, of course. Laughing, she told him not to worry. After all, something happens every day. He said it looked like something particularly serious. Do-gyeon just scared her. Everything was fine. She took his cheeks in her hands and told him not to worry. Everything was fine. And she kissed On Do-woon passionately. She asked him to believe in her. He said okay. Bo-ra thanked her beloved for his support and promised that they would talk on the phone tomorrow morning. Now she needed to rest. He agreed and asked her to be sure to contact him in case of an emergency. Yes, yes, if anything happens, she will definitely call, and she went home with the intention of telling them everything today. She didn't want to fight it anymore. She needed to be confident and walk with pride. So that's what she did. Through thorns to the stars. What is she doing? Her grandmother shouted from the doorway and slapped the girl across the face. Does she know that she is causing them serious problems? Ra grabbed her injured cheek. She doesn't understand. She went on a date as planned. Her cousin yelled at her not to pretend to be a saint. And she asked what it was pointing to the photo. On the screen was a photo of Bo-ra standing in a parking lot with Do-woon, both smiling happily. Don't pretend to be stupid, Ji hissed through her teeth. She stole her husband. Bo-ra realized there was no turning back. This was not how she had imagined the key moment. Did she think about the consequences, that idiot? Ji was overcome with anger. How dare she date her sister's fiancé? Her grandmother raged, clenching her fists. No, there must be some mistake, Bo-ra tried to explain. Adultery was her family's curse. She had worked so hard to keep her parents' sin a secret, but their actions were identical. Her grandmother insisted. Bo-ra was furious. According to her logic, that's exactly how it looked. But she didn't know that Bo-ra had no intention of doing that. The grandmother continued. It seems that one daughter is not enough, so she decided to follow in her parents' footsteps. Bo-ra called out to her grandmother. Why is she dragging her parents into this? This is her problem after all. Can't she just shut up? She shouldn't raise her voice at her. Grandma raised her index finger. Because of her, her family was becoming a laughingstock. She had fed her and raised her. And this is how she wants to repay her? The old woman was angry. Who will take responsibility for this? Bo-ra said she would take responsibility. Let her admit that she did it on purpose. She wants to deceive her. Ji-yeon shouted, did she approach him on purpose? It doesn't make sense. It's just a coincidence. What are the chances that he will marry her? Ji-yeon raged. An Do-woon is so unhappy. Her cousin pitied the boy, not even realizing that God himself had probably saved him from her. If Do-woon finds out that the person he loves is using him for her own interests, it will hurt him deeply. Why did he get involved with someone like her? No, Bo-ra objected. No what? She's not using him for her own interests. Then what's the reason? Ji-yeon was furious. Maybe she wants to say that she loves him? Yes, Bo-ra is really in love with this man. Ji-yeon gritted her teeth in anger. Bo-ra said it was true that she wanted to use An Do-woon for her own purposes. But when they met, he became the only one who supported her. This guy was the first person in her life to make Bo-ra realize that she was important to someone. How could someone as wounded and unloved as her not fall in love with him? Ji-yeon shouted that Yeon Bo-ra was crazy and headed towards her. She really had lost her mind. How dare she? How dare she do that? Ah, really? Ji-yeon had an idea. Then he must know that they are cousins? This angered Bo-ra. Her cousin was very inventive when it came to mischief. Bingo! So he doesn't know? She realizes that she couldn't tell An Do-woon about their family ties. Bo-ra nervously told Ji-yeon not to do that. What does she mean? Don't call Do-woon? Don't tell him they're cousins? Isn't she afraid? What will she do when she tells him everything? And she pressed the call button. Oh, this is not going to end well. Yeon Bo-ra! He picked up the phone immediately. The blonde froze in horror. Now this girl would kill two birds with one stone, her family and her love. Ji-yeon introduced herself and reminded him that she was the one who went on a blind date with him. Did she have any problems? You could say that she wanted to tell him something interesting. He needed to know. How convenient, said An Do-woon, because he was right there. What? Ji-yeon was surprised. The guy replied that he would come to their house right away, and Do-woon said this in a very serious tone. It just so happened that he was nearby, so he would come and listen to them. Annie hung up. His face was filled with determination. You have to fight for your happiness, as they say there's no such thing as a free lunch. He really did come, and they all sat down together at the table. Well, at least they weren't hitting each other, so that was good. The grandmother crossed her arms authoritatively over her chest. An Do-woon sat so that he was between his beloved and his grandmother and opposite his rival Bo-ri. He took his girlfriend by the hand. She looked at him sadly, ashamed of her toxic relatives. The young man resembled a strong lion. He was 100% sure that he had made the right decision. He held Bo-ru's hand tightly. In this way, they seemed to strengthen each other. It looked like the struggle would be exhausting. Ji-young concluded that he did not seem at all surprised by the situation. Bo-ri felt a weight lift off her chest. She was still tense, but thanks to her beloved's support, she felt much calmer. He asked why he should be surprised. What did she expect? Well, there's really nothing surprising about it, the girl hissed. It's the same as always. An Do-woon, who is Ji-yeon's fiancé, and his mistress Ji-bora are in the same place. Isn't that strange? He corrected her. An acquaintance, to be more precise. He is not her fiancé and never has been. Bo-ra looked at him with interest. He demonstratively placed his hand so that the ring on his finger was as visible as possible. And the same ring glowed brightly under the fluorescent light on Bo-ra's hand, which he did not let go of. It doesn't matter, Ji-young snapped because it annoyed her greatly. No, Do-woon objected. It's very important because all the problems are due to the fact that Ji-yeon, first of all, is not his partner. He didn't want to date her. Bo-ra looked at him in surprise again. Ji-yeon got angry and gritted her teeth, and her grandmother said that it was her family's problem, not his. He addressed President coldly, but not familiarly. No, it was his problem too, because the person he wanted to be with was Bo-ra. The grandmother became very angry. She was only interested in her own personal interests and never took into account the personalities of the people who came into her field of vision. He continued that Ms. knows this, but continues to ignore it. Is he right? Yeon Bo-ra began to suspect the reason for this conflict. So, was she the one who was supposed to go on this date with Do-won, which her cousin went on instead? Is she his partner? What is she talking about? Her cousin fumed. It's time to wake up, she's being deceived. Yeon Bo-ra deliberately approached An Do-un, didn't she? Ji-yeon asked the actor, pointing at her sister. Selfish people are comical. They constantly get into trouble because of their narrow-mindedness and self-centeredness. And that's what happened to Ji-young when Do-woon asked, "Is that a problem?" He said that he actually approached Bo-ra first, and it was long before the blind date that Ji-young came too. Because the blind date with Bo-ra was his idea, the guy laughed, remembering how it all began. Both sisters were shocked by this statement. He also said that he didn't want Bo-ra to find out about everything this way. He apologized for not telling them earlier. He asked his parents for a blind date with the granddaughter of the Serum Corporation. He emphasized that he wanted to meet the first granddaughter of the head of Bo-ra. But Mrs. changed everything. Was that so? He asked his grandmother. She looked at him from under her eyebrows with anger and said nothing. No way, Ji said and broke out in a cold sweat. She asked her grandmother if he was mistaken. Please let her say it's not true. Was it really supposed to be Bo-ra, not her? She stared into her grandmother's eyes. The girl jumped to her feet. Finally, she realized that Do-un was telling the truth. She pointed her finger at her sister and asked why he had chosen her. Compared to Bo-ra, she was clearly better. She didn't want everything to be taken away from her so easily. Her tirade was interrupted by her beloved fiancé. He was very sorry, but no one had ever intended to take anything away from her. She stood there as if spat on with her finger pointed at her sister. He looked her in the eyes and politely asked her not to misunderstand him, because the one who was trying to take something away from others was her. But Ji pointed at her cousin again and shouted that he couldn't be with another woman. Not her! Not her! Grandmother intervened. Ji-young is right, because Ra has hurt her parents. She is the seed of misfortune. She doesn't want this tragedy to repeat itself. It's better if everyone pretends that nothing ever happened. No wedding, no dates. None of that ever happened. So let her go. She respects his parents very much, but there are limits she will not allow to be crossed. Bo-ra tried to understand why she hated her so much. What did she do wrong? Why should she be responsible just for being born to that man? And Duan's words, asking if Mrs. Ohm knew that her actions would make Bo-ra's life a miserable, shocked the girl. The grandmother became angry. In her opinion, he had no right to say such things. He noted that he was dating her. He knew Bo-ra's parents and understood them well. In that case, he should know the reason why she won't let that happen, said the grandmother. She can't accept their relationship because Bo-ra is that man's daughter. Does he think his parents will be happy with such a daughter-in-law? Will they be able to accept an illegitimate child? It is better to break it off now than to suffer later. Bo-ra's husband will be the one chooses. So he should not interfere in her family's affairs. He looked at his beloved and asked directly, does she want this to happen again? Would Bo-ra be happy if her grandmother decided everything for her? The grandmother blushed with anger. She did not expect such resistance from this young man. He accused Mrs. Ohm of demanding that her granddaughter's feelings, thoughts, and actions conform to her standards. Doesn't she consider this a tragedy? The grandmother exploded. He didn't know anything. Did he think that because he had met Bo Roy a month or two ago, he knew her better than her grandmother? She slammed her fist on the table. He concluded that she never listened to her granddaughter's opinion. Does she really think that this has no effect? How much more will she have to suffer? He believed that it was Ohm's head who didn't understand anything, so he decided to say it because he had been watching Bo Roy for quite some time, and he was sure that he knew her quite well. The grandmother angrily warned him not to say anything like that again. She blushed with anger again. Du-un lowered his eyes, turned his head away, and said that, in that case, she leaves him no choice. He would not allow Bo-ra to stay here any longer. The blonde looked at him with trust and fear. This man was taking responsibility for her life at that very moment. The young man reached out his hand to his beloved and asked with a warm smile if she wanted to break up or run away with him. His hand was a hand of salvation. Every time this man saved her from her worries. Bo looked into his courageous eyes and remembered how desperately she tried to hide her pain. She had spent her whole life with her grandmother, who always judged her, and her cousin, who took everything for granted, but lately he always lends a helping hand when she needs it most. Tears welled up in the girl's eyes. He still holds out his hand and gives her the right to choose. His understanding gaze and confident voice are like a ray of hope in this hopeless darkness. She wanted to trust him just once, and she placed her hand in his. This decision changed her whole fate. She was afraid, but she knew it was the right decision. Don't you dare run away, her grandmother repeated, realizing that she was losing control over her granddaughter, whom she had always considered her property. The grandmother angrily ordered Yan Bo-ri to go immediately to her room on the second floor. The girl said she was sorry, but this was her life. From now on, she would decide everything for herself. This statement shocked her grandmother greatly. She shouted that the girl couldn't leave this house because it was her destiny. She couldn't escape it. She should just do everything her grandmother told her to do, and then she would be happy. The clock already showed 20 minutes past 11 at night. Bo-ra tried to stop her grandmother's speech, but the grandmother continued to wind herself up. Choice? What would happen next? Would she be better off if she went with this man? From now on, she will find the happiness she desires, declared the blonde woman. Hush, snapped the grandmother. She simply did not want to hear anyone but herself. If she did not want to become like her mother, she had to listen to her grandmother. Everyone was shocked by the crazy words of the senile woman. Let her not follow what is called happiness. Otherwise, she will meet a terrible end. Let her not allow such an outcome. The grandmother finished her ominous curse. Bo-ri's pupils narrowed. How could anyone say such terrible words? Grandmother. The grandmother's fists clenched tighter. She was ready to defend what she had fought for all her life until her last breath. Perhaps by controlling everything, said her terrified granddaughter, she simply doesn't want Bo-ra to become like her mother. The old woman looked broken. These words struck her heart, which had been consumed by grief. She herself was not happy and did not allow anyone around her to be happy. The grandmother recalls how her daughter who had run away suddenly appears with her husband and says she will not ask for forgiveness. My mother is not yet gray-haired, but she is just as authoritarian and angry. She turned away so as not to look her child in the eye. Her daughter says that she at least needs to see her grandson. She says that their life is difficult. Who said he's her grandson? Remarks the mother, who is still staring at the wall. The woman looked her daughter in the eyes and reminded her that she had warned her. If she leaves home, she should not come back. She is not going to support her suffering. The daughter said that she was living a happy life contrary to her mother's beliefs. The mother was surprised. Did she say she was happy with this incompetent man? What kind of nonsense was that? She had given up the future she had built for her. Now she dared to say that she was living well? When she was a child, she listened to her, but now everything had changed. Her mother was angry. This scumbag made her daughter's life miserable. The young man patiently endured all the insults. Does he think he can feed her daughter by sewing clothes? The mother lashed out at the young man. Her mother will give her everything she wants. She can start a new life. Let her leave everything behind and choose. Let her think, if there is no salt water, you have to find a fountain. The daughter is indignant that her mother has remained the same. What else can she expect from her? She had hoped so much that her mother would change, become more sensitive, accept her family. The older woman continues to keep her arms crossed over her chest, uncomfortable and in pain. Her daughter assured her that she no longer needed to worry about her family's reputation. She would never return to this house. From this moment on, she can consider that she has no daughter, the young woman cried out in pain. This statement broke her mother's heart. The young man approached his wife's mother and said he was very sorry. He promised to return when the child grew up. The mother said nothing. Her face, full of disappointment, was reflected in the teal. Suddenly, looking at her daughter walking away, she thought that she would return soon. At that moment, she saw the couple being hit by a car. She didn't know that she would regret it for the rest of her life. When the doctor said that her daughter could not be saved, the mother thought that she would not survive that day. But many years have passed since she died. The mother no longer feels her warmth. Over time, she erased all the memories she had of her. She just held her child, who miraculously survived, in her arms and looked far ahead, habitually building a new future. The only reminder of the tragedy was a portrait of her daughter with her boyfriend, which she had to dust off periodically. Holding her granddaughter in her arms, the woman stared at the portrait. Then she looked at the baby's chubby, cute face. Once she decided to go see where they lived, she told the baby that this was the place where her mother used to live, a tiny, cozy room. The woman looked around the wedding salon. How was she going to raise a child here? Was this what she called happiness? If it weren't for him, her daughter would be alive. The woman thought, forgetting the real reason for her death. She looked at the elegant dress and remembered the couple. There she found his note saying that they needed to have a wedding as soon as Bo Ra was born. So she decided that she would never forgive this little child. The woman held Bo Ra to her chest and promised that she would never let her make the same mistake her mother had made. Everyone was talking about the place where the famous wedding dress designer had died. So she bought his company and spread the rumor about Violet that women who wore dresses from this salon were very happy in marriage. She would not let anyone take Bo Ru away from her, thought the gray-haired woman looking around the salon. It was this episode that she remembered now, looking at her granddaughter, who was about to run away from home. Bo Ra turned to her grandmother. She wanted her to admit whether she really thought of her as her mother. Her grandmother answered in the affirmative, because Bo Ra had her blood running through her veins. And that man's? The grandmother was terrifying in that moment of anger. Only she could know that Bo Ra would not become like her mother. Their lives would also be miserable. Miserable, so she wants her to die too? Doesn't she know the power of words? Extremely irritated, the grandmother yelled at her granddaughter, telling Yan Bo Ra not to talk to her in that tone. She replied that she had always found her behavior strange. Why were there so many strangers in her life? Did she want to marry her off, or just get her out of the way? What was the real reason? In fact, her grandmother sincerely wishes her only happiness. Her grandmother's face turned pale and drooped. Was that why she treated her chosen one that way? The girl was not going to give up her will either. Bo Ra turned away in disgust. What a primitive attitude toward living people, as if they were mere objects. What is she talking about? Why would she do that? Ji Yan began to speak. Over time, children become just like their parents, the old woman claimed. Bo Ri's mother said that she didn't understand her and didn't know her, that she always wanted to run away from home. Her grandmother continued to insist. But she made a huge mistake. She continued to press her granddaughter, trying to intimidate her. And Bo-ra knows this because only at home is she safe. The woman concluded her tirade and shook her fist. She doesn't dare leave home and must remember how her mother died, her grandmother said, waving her fists at Yeon Bo-ra. If she leaves this house, her life will be the same as her mother's. The girl replied that it wasn't her mother's fault. The grandmother got angry. What did she say? Bo-ra couldn't take it anymore and shouted that the grandmother was the reason for her mother's misfortune. Didn't her grandmother want to protect her grandson? How could she do that? The woman didn't like these thoughts at all. Bo-ra continued to explain. Didn't she understand that she was suffocating her with her control? She couldn't even imagine how painful it was. It was time to accept her parents and stop blaming Bo-ra. This was hell. Was this what she called caring? Was this what she wanted for her happiness? She shouldn't dare to control her. The grandmother lamented that when her parents met, her daughter's life was cut short, so she decided not to accept her. Bo-ra turned away from her hand. She was no longer her granddaughter, and she was not her daughter. It was her life and her choice. She took her beloved by the hand. She promised to leave with this man. The grandmother grabbed her granddaughter's hand and began to persuade her not to leave the house under any circumstances. The girl said she would return the next day. She promised she would not disappear like her mother. Ra took her grandmother's hand in hers. She would come back tomorrow or in the next few days. In fact, whenever she was needed, she would always be there. The grandmother looked at her granddaughter as if she were something impossible to hold on to. Her time had come to fly the family nest. It was impossible to fight nature. She asked her grandmother to trust her and look at her not as her mother, but as Yeonbo-ru who will be happy. Can't they live like this? The girl felt like the winner of this drama. An Do-woon took Bo-ra to his place. She wiped his tears with her handkerchief. Since he had heard what had happened, she would tell him everything. The thing is, Ji-yeon and she are sisters. It turns out that by not telling him the whole truth, she actually lied to him. Even that proposal wasn't serious, but now everything is different. That day she felt she had made the right choice. Now she really likes him, and she can say that with confidence. Does he have feelings for her? Of course he has feelings for her. He said he loved her. That's the truth. He is serious about his decision to build a relationship with her. Then she asks him to tell her everything he knows. The girl looks seriously into his eyes. He began to tell her how he first met her in a coffee shop where she often went. She probably doesn't even remember it. After all, they were supposed to meet other people 3 months ago at a blind date. He had to change his shooting schedule, and all for some blind date. He is a famous actor. Still, it was at his mother's request. His sisters told her that he didn't want a relationship and his mother didn't know what to do with him. But his brother-in-law advised her to send him to a cafe for such a date, so his mother sighed with relief because her son was her last hope. On that very day, Bo-ra was sitting at the next table with the same goal in mind. He was worried about what would happen if people found out about this date, especially the press, and in such a crowded place. A dark-haired girl came up and admitted that she didn't think he would come. Such places are not suitable for a better actor, right? She guessed the reason for his anxiety. He replied that yes, they were. She shouldn't think that he didn't like her because she was a big fan of his. At their last meeting, they took a photo together. Meeting him was like a dream. It really was like a dream. His companion accidentally spilled coffee on her dress and asked to go to the restroom to clean it. When she left, he sighed with relief and thought it would be nice to escape. He heard a woman's voice asking if he had also come for a blind date. The actor assumed that someone had recognized him. The girl apologized for scaring him. She had also come for a blind date. They must have gotten to him too. Do-un realized that the girl sitting behind him was talking to him. He apologized for thinking that no one was there because of the noise around him. The mysterious stranger suggested that he didn't like the girl they were trying to set him up with. Do-woon said that she was right, that was the case. He had been forced to come here, and she had also been forced, so to speak. The young lady asked if it was his first time at such a meeting because he was sighing heavily. How did she know? Because she did the same thing on their first date, and now too. But he didn't hear her sigh. Maybe she just got used to it. She can't look, but her voice sounds sad. If she had been there several times and didn't like it, why didn't she refuse? Because she missed the right moment and now she can't do it. It's so strange he wants to turn around, but he can't. He's afraid that if he looks back, the girl will melt away like a mirage. The stranger asked if she could give him some advice about the viewing. He listened carefully. The girl advised him to run away, not to suffer like she did. When a person turns around, let them tell the truth and leave. If he continues to waste his life in vain, he will regret it later, just as she does now. What did that mean? At that moment, the dark-haired girl returned, apologized, and asked how long he had been waiting for her. Then she asked where they would go. Maybe they could eat something or watch a movie? He hesitated and remembered the advice of the girl behind him. Run away, don't suffer. And Do-woon felt sorry. The girl looked at him in fear. Why did he feel sorry? He told her in a serious and cold tone that he couldn't continue the date. He ruined the date, his brother-in-law lamented. What would he tell his mother now? And Do-woon replied that his mother had caused this mess herself without even asking his opinion. And yet Yoo Joo-ha, An Do-woon's only brother-in-law, was worried he owned this cafe. This girl? Who is she? The actor looked at his empathetic secret interlocutor with interest. This is Miss Bo Rai, replied Yoo Joo-ha. Do-won felt hopeful and asked if his brother-in-law knew her. Yes, she is a regular customer. She comes here almost every week. It seems like she has dates here, and it seems like she has no choice but to come. Why is it Bo Ra? Woo-in asked Yoo Joo-ha for advice on what to do now. His brother-in-law asked if he didn't understand how to justify himself to his mother. No, that wasn't it. It seemed that he had fallen in love with this amazing girl at first sight. Love at first sight. He felt it for the first time with a woman. It was a feeling he had acted out thinking it was nothing special, but it made him think about her. He got into show business as a child, and probably ever since he was awarded the best male role, people have called him a national actor. Then he began acting in various films and TV series. He even made several commercials and received an award for best male role. An Do-woon got used to cameras from childhood. There he learned patience and tried his best to hold on until the end. His life consisted of orders. He can do it. Don't run away. He has to be patient. Everyone around him said so, and he just tried to accept it. He always restrained and controlled himself. The boy understood this from her words. He continued to live according to the instructions of others. He kept quiet and endured. This is not life. He just stood still, constantly feeling the pressure called, and Do-won. For the first time, someone told him to run away, and it was her. A chance encounter with a charming stranger who also had no right to control her own life in the 21st century. She was the first person with whom he felt at ease. He wanted to see her more often. It wasn't easy for him. He had to leave Seoul to film in a cold region. However, his dreams of her warmed him from within. Look, he was right. As expected, she came again. How did Yoo Joo-ha find out? Do-woon didn't expect Bo Ra to come. As the cafe owner said, he saw her here every week while Do-won was filming. Until now? Yes, every week. Isn't that cool? He doesn't know who her matchmaker is, but he's definitely the devil. She seems to want to escape from that old man. An Do-woon is also surprised. 2 months have passed, but as soon as the work was finished, he came here right away. So is it true that he intends to build a relationship with her? Asked his brother-in-law. Of course, he wants to officially meet her, so he waits until her forced date is over. His brother-in-law slaps him on the head, but he didn't think it would be so terrible. It's a good idea to get married as soon as possible, the actor dreamed. Yoo Joo-ha hadn't told him yet. He learned for certain that Bo Ra had taken a vow of celibacy. A vow of celibacy? Is that true? And Do-woon was worried. Yes, said his brother-in-law. She told him herself. But Bo Ra is the president of a well-known wedding salon, continued Yoo Joo-ha, revealing her regular customer secrets. And Do-woon admired the girl and absent-mindedly asked which salon it was and where to find it. The Violet Salon. His cousin had ordered a dress there. She liked it very much. She said the director was nice. Is she happy herself? Asked the enamored young man. Does she sacrifice for others? Does she have her own personal happiness? Yoo Joo-ha doesn't know. She didn't tell him that one can only guess. But An Do-woon doubts it. He remembered her sad words. She missed her chance, and now she can't escape. Her weary voice seems to indicate that this girl has long since given up on everything. Those tired shoulders. If only he were there, he would appreciate them more. It's not too late if he's worried he can go and see for himself, advised Yu Ju-ha. So, what about talking to your mom? You have to tell her that you want to meet a girl's family. Explain that she is the granddaughter of the head of the serum corporation, Yeon Bo-rao. In any case, his mother is forcing him to get married. Wouldn't she be happy with such a request? But Bo-ri might not like him, and Do-woon worried it's too much responsibility. It's obvious that she has a negative impression of blind dates. What if Bo-ra thinks badly of him, or he ruins his first impression? He imagined how it would be. What? Dating? Her with him? The girl was still sitting opposite the elderly man, who was trying his best to make a good impression on her in the hope of winning her heart. If you talk to her, be sincere, advised Yuju, that was his opinion. If it was correct, then Bo-ra was very observant. Hey, now he understands how he won his sister's heart. And Do-won approved of the advice. Yuju-ha was impressed. He said it sincerely and acted without guile towards his wife, unable to imagine doing otherwise. The only person who helps him in life is his brother-in-law, and his sister loves Yuju-ha. Why did he suddenly decide to talk about it? And Do-woon's mother answered the phone call. Is it true? Is it really her son? Yes, it's him. Is this really such a surprise for my mother? And Do-woon asked cheerfully. The young man was being prepared for another shoot. He couldn't even wait until he was alone to make this call. So, the makeup artist witnessed the actor's mother's words on the phone, saying that just 2 months ago, he said he didn't want to get married at all. He laughed and said, Yes, I did, but now I'm serious. Have my mother write to him on their behalf? All right, did she remember? Her name is Bo-ra, the granddaughter of the Serum Corporation. She understood that her mother had to return home. Were they ready for the wedding? He asked his mother to meet her first. When he contacted Serum, he would let her know. Yes, he will wait for the call. Okay, now he just needs to meet Bo-ra. The actor was worried. He hopes it won't take too long. Soon he received an invitation on his phone for a blind date with a girl he didn't know. And Do-woon ran to his brother-in-law in a panic. Why is everything turning out this way? Who is this woman? Who is she? And Do-woon asked his brother-in-law, showing him a photo of Ji-yeon on his phone. Yuju-ha looked at the phone screen. She's her cousin, his brother-in-law explained. The second granddaughter of President Ohm. Does she have 2 granddaughters? Asked a stunned Do-won. Everyone knows only one. Bo-ra is also Serim's granddaughter, and the one who is presented as the only granddaughter is named Ji-yeon. Do-woon asked his brother-in-law to tell him everything right now. He said that it was inappropriate to discuss people's personal lives. It was not proper. And Do-woon was upset. What do you mean? He's asking about the most important person to him. Is there something he doesn't know about Bo-ra? He asked him to tell him, please. Obviously, this is not the only strange thing. He will have a blind date with Yeon Bo-ro, no matter how much her life is hidden from prying eyes. However, the gray people, who from the very beginning seemed not to have even heard of a name like Yeon Bo-ra, sent a photo of Ji-yeon as a partner for the date. Strange, isn't it? They treat her as if Bo-ra doesn't exist. Perhaps he was wrong to think it would be easy. If it has to do with such a family, the conflict will not be easy. But why? They are both her granddaughters. Shurin thought about it. And Do-won asked if he was the only one who didn't understand anything. Shurin replied that he didn't know either. He just remembers what Bo-ra said when she was drunk. Her parents got married despite the family discord. Her mother died when their daughter was born. And Do-won was disturbed by this news. He didn't know what to say and continued listening to the story. Bo-ra considers herself a harbinger of misfortune. What if someone told her that? Maybe Do-won suggested leaning on the bar counter. She grew up in a terrible place. And Do-won's hands began to tremble. Bo-ri probably had a hard time because of what her parents did. His brother-in-law continued that this was one of the reasons they wanted him to meet their other granddaughter. Do-woon asked if she knew that the dates would be like that. Every time she came back from a date, she felt terrible. He doesn't know how to stop it. The gray ones want to push him away from the person he is destined to meet. His brother-in-law put his hand on his friend's shoulder in a friendly manner. and said that he also didn't know why they were doing this. What now? Andawoon asked what else he could do. To be honest, Bo-ra doesn't know who he is, so she might be upset or even angry. Shorin said that he should think carefully about what to do. Yes agreed. And Duan, he's right, so as not to hurt her. So what did he come up with? Bo-ra asked after Andawoon's long story about his love life. Their first meeting was very natural, wasn't it? The guy laughed. The girl remembered that meeting. She asked emotionally if it was because of him that the filming took place at Violet. Well, he helped a little with organizing the filming. He told her in a whisper. He had to pay a lot to persuade the director to shoot in her salon. Do-woon paid for food and drinks. This story amused Bo-ru. She said it was very witty. An Do-woon was delighted great. He was worried that she would be angry with him. Bo-ra asked if he was worried. He said yes more than she could imagine because he told her everything too late. The blonde said that he was so serious that it was even scary. Yes, he was very careful because he didn't want her to suffer even more. He was afraid that someday this situation would repeat itself, that Bo-ra would have a bad impression of him. Bo-ra said that in fact their chance meeting was like a breath of fresh air. By the way, she approached him first. The girl reminded him. He remembered how she climbed onto him at the Violet and proposed marriage. An Do-woon said it turned out to be a miracle. He couldn't let her go after that. The guy dreamily recalled those events. She asked him not to dwell on that argument at home. He replied that she didn't owe anyone anything and wiped the tears from her eyes again. Then he ran his fingers through her hair and said that she was above all his girlfriend. He looked tenderly into her eyes, then told her he loved her and kissed her. In the morning, she was in the flower department of the salon and called her boyfriend to ask if he had slept well. He said no, because he didn't see her when he woke up. The girl laughed. She said she didn't want to wake him up, and he acted very strangely. How can you sleep on the couch? She should have stayed at Dogen's house. Bo-ra thought, yeah, it would probably be very awkward if he went to stay at Lee's house. She thinks she would look at him with pity. The boy lay down on the bed and laughed into the phone. He said that when he heard Bo-ra's voice, he realized how much he missed her. He would pick her up in the afternoon. She agreed. They would see each other soon. Suddenly, someone addressed her. It was a young blonde man in an expensive three-piece suit. Bo-ra asked how she could help him. He asked for help in choosing a gift. He was going to a meeting with a very important person, but he didn't know what flowers to choose. What is this person like? Bo-ra asked. He said he didn't know because they were meeting for the first time. She pointed to some flowers and asked what he thought of them. The man said that it seemed they liked the same things. The girl was delighted and recommended yellow flowers. He said, okay, take them. Thank you, it will be a wonderful gift. Then he thanked Bo-ra again for her help and left. The girl looked back and asked him to explain something. How did he know her name? She hadn't told him. Next, at the Violet Salon, Bo-ra put together a beautiful bouquet. And when she met Gyeon Lee in the hallway, she greeted her. Lee praised the director for her hard work. Bo-ra asked if there had been any difficulties. She was told that there hadn't been. But even if there had been, she would have been there to help. But Lee was much more interested in what had happened yesterday. And Bo-ra, realizing that if she didn't tell her, her friend wouldn't let up, said, it was like a fairy tale. They dealt with the mean old woman and the princess, too. And now she is in a relationship with An Do-woon, and she handed Lee a bouquet. She said it was wonderful news. The girls heard other young women praising the actor's acting and his attractive face. Bo-ra asked what was going on, and she explained that there was a shoot in the lobby today, and Bo-ra saw that there was indeed a pile of equipment there and her boyfriend in the spotlight. Next to him was a prompter. The girls said dreamily that no matter how you look at it, he is a star who shines even from a distance, right? Bo-ra agreed with this statement. Lee asked, I wonder who is so lucky to be dating such a handsome guy. The blonde blushed. They say that this time, An Do-woon plays a perfectionist, the authoritarian owner of a wedding salon. This role doesn't suit him at all, Bo-ra remarked. Really? Everyone on the forum says that the actors were chosen perfectly. It's unusual this image doesn't suit him at all. He looks like a different person. The blonde lamented. He doesn't look like himself at all. At that moment, the director gave the command camera action. Lee dreamily said that this is what acting is all about. Ahn Da-woon, in the role of a manager, gave instructions to his subordinate who, like a cowering dog, obediently accepted the orders to be carried out. The guy looked very angry, irritable, and self-confident. Bo-ra was involuntarily captivated by his performance, watching his every move closely. Ahn Da-woon caught her gaze, smiled involuntarily, and blushed. The director shouted irritably, "Stop! What's wrong with Ahn Da-woon?" The guy apologized. The girls on the set who were watching the filming began to gossip about the reason for his smile. Could it be that there was someone here that Ahn Da-woon liked? The media hadn't mentioned it. Even though the series was popular, Lee advised Bo-ri to leave now. One of the girls joked that he must like her. Another said that she was just talking too much. Bo-ra sat at her desk and tried to focus on her work. Suddenly, her beloved walked in happy and glowing. She asked how the filming was going. He said he was on a break. He had already filmed all the scenes in which he appeared. He apologized for their spontaneous eye contact. She said it was okay, it was just work. She should take a day off while he was filming, as she was afraid of getting in his way. The guy and the girl laughed. He was embarrassed that the camera had caught that moment. It was unexpected for him. Suddenly, he began to sniff her. She was frightened, but he explained that it was just a familiar scent or perfume. "A friend of his uses it," Ra asked jealously. "A girl? No, a guy." She explained that she had recently met a guy who was buying flowers from her. He asked her to choose a bouquet. Maybe it was his scent. Did he decide to behave like that with a stranger? Do-woon got angry. Most likely, he mistook her for a regular employee. He began to ask if there was anything else, if he had offended her in any way. No, nothing. And she remembered how the stranger addressed her by name. Her pupils narrowed. He noticed she assured him that everything was fine. If something wasn't okay, she would tell him she promised to do so. Wasn't it time for him to leave? What if someone saw them? Then he would admit who his girlfriend was. And she would be angry if he did that. Was he going too far? They had spent the night together. Oh no, if someone heard, they would misunderstand. They had slept in different rooms. It was better to keep everything secret. He pretended to be depressed. Bo-ra was no longer the same. He wants to see her more and more often. How can he keep it a secret? She asked him to be patient during filming. He said that patience should be rewarded. What reward? He took her face in his hands. She blushed. This one. And he asked if he could kiss her. She allowed him to. He also blushed and asked her if she could stay with him tonight. She said no. She had decided to visit her home. When she crossed the threshold of the house and shouted, "Hello, everyone!" it seemed to her that no one was home. Then her grandmother said that she had been told to come earlier. She doesn't listen to her at all. And she looked at her granddaughter with pain covering her mouth. Bo-ra asked if she wasn't going to talk at all. Now she had kept her promise. Her grandmother looked lonely. Bo-ra thought that even though she was like her parents in her actions, her fate would be different. She hoped so. Burst into tears. The girl hoped that her grandmother would understand. Strangely, after that day, silence reigned in the house. Everyone just sat silently and ate. She thought Ji-yeon would scream, but she left in the morning and didn't come back until late at night. Her grandmother suddenly became silent, as if she was thinking about something, as if the storm had subsided. Ji-yeon's friend, who had recently come to pick up her wedding dress, got married. Her dress was truly amazing. The bride herself was happy, and everything suited her. The flower petals, the bouquets, the hairstyle, and the makeup. Everything seemed to be back to normal. Bo-ra was satisfied with her work, but one day that dark-haired, uninvited guest came to the Violet Salon again. She came to thank Bo-ra. Thanks to Bo-ra, the wedding went wonderfully, and she gave Bo-ra a gift. Bo-ra said thank you. It wasn't necessary. It was stuffy because of the heat. So Kim, So-ra lied to get rid of Gyun. Lee went to get something refreshing. Bo-ra smiled and asked the guest if she enjoyed her wedding trip. She enjoyed it very much. After looking through the photos, even Ji-yeon wanted to spend her honeymoon there. Ji-yeon is planning a matchmaking session. What? What matchmaking session? Didn't Bo-ra know that her cousin's engagement to Ahn Da-woon had been broken off? President said she would find her a better match. So that's where she goes every day. Bo-ra guessed Kim. So-ra said that she sends a bunch of dirt to the chat, writing to others why they are not like him, and about Do-won that she left on her own. Bo-ra thought that she must be very interested in this. So her sister doesn't even know about it? It seems that they are on bad terms? Bo-ra explained that they are not interested in each other's affairs. So why did Bo-ra steal her sister's boyfriend? This statement came as a bolt from the blue for the blonde Kim. So-ra laughed. Isn't that right? Do-won's mistress. She shouldn't hide it. She knows everything. They're dating. Kim So-ra! The blonde shouted the name of the uninvited guest to warn her against gossip, but she interrupted. Don't worry, she's not going to spread rumors. She's already suffered enough because of her. It was her who took the photo of them together and gave it to Ji-yeon. Kim So-ra confessed. So it was her? So it was because of her? Bo-ra tried to calm her emotions, but she was shaking all over. She had to calm down because Do-won was working downstairs. She couldn't get angry without knowing her intentions. The brunette asked her not to be so tense. She had come to apologize. Apologize? Kim So-ra understood. Ji-yeon must hate her sister. So-ra thought she was trying to steal her sister's boyfriend but realized she was wrong. She doesn't seem like the type of person who would steal a relative's boyfriend. She is someone who takes her work seriously, which is more important. She watched Do-won's interview. He looked happy. It was clear as day that he loved her very much. So I thought maybe they don't know something. Isn't that right? She has no reason to tell everything Bo-ra told her, but she can swear to some things. She didn't even have a motive to lead her boyfriend astray. Kim So-ra apologized. She was sorry. It may seem like an excuse, but at that time she was desperate, afraid that the wedding preparations would be delayed, and she thanked Bo-ra for not losing her composure. The blonde said she was too late with her apologies. It was too difficult for her to accept it and move on. Now she prays that she will never see her again. And fortunately, this is their last conversation. She hopes she is satisfied now. Her wedding was prepared by the violet salon itself. That's the only thing she can say to her. Yeon Bo-ra felt that she was doing the right thing by staying away from people like her sister and her friend. Do-eun was concentrating on reading the script. A woman called out to him. She was beaming with joy and said she had a script in common with him. It was actress Park Shi-hyun. We have to prepare for the next scene. The director said to rehearse it in advance. The woman said, "Is it that urgent?" The actress said, "What should they do?" Then some things have changed. This part is important. She thinks it might not work out the first time. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to spare at least a minute? Okay, where will they start? They chose a place. The scene was not like that from the beginning. It was changed. Lee watched their rehearsal and explained to the director that actress Park Shi-hyun is very conscientious in her work. She has a pleasant personality and a high level of skill. That's why she is close to her colleagues. She is also close with Do-won. Will everything be okay? Bo-ra said that it's just work. The girls could calm their nerves. What can you do? It's a romantic movie and there will be that scene. What scene? The kiss, of course. How did she find out? Do-yoon asked. He had indeed received the script for 4 episodes which included this scene. A long kiss. Bo-ri felt sick. It was as if she had been hit on the head with a brick. She asked if it was what she was thinking. A passionate kiss? He said Bo-ra looked bad and asked if she was okay. The girl assured him that everything was fine. She just got lost in thought for a second. So the kiss is already in the 4th chapter. Aren't things developing too quickly? The characters are barely acquainted. And in the 1st chapter, they already made a proposal. That's not what Bo-ra is thinking, is it? That's right. It turns out his girlfriend can be jealous. He laughed. She protested and waved her hand saying she wasn't jealous. What, she doesn't agree with that? Not at all. He thought she was very cute at that moment. Bo-ra began to convince him that she was fine. He shouldn't worry about it. Really? The guy asked anxiously. She confidently said that she wasn't that kind of girl. It's just a kiss in a movie. It's just a game. After the kiss, the movie will definitely be at the top of the ratings. Isn't that what all actors and producers want? In that case, she is looking forward to that moment. Of course she is jealous, but we must not forget that Do-won is an actor. This will happen again and again, so there's no need to react so sharply. She doesn't want to interfere with his work, she just has no other choice. And she said out loud that she trusts him. Won't Doowon fall in love after the kissing scene? He said of course not, but they say the wedding scene will be filmed in violet. So first, he would like to get engaged to Boru. A wedding? In violet? Wouldn't it be better for them to get married right away? He asked. Is he joking? Maybe so, but he doesn't want Bo-ra to be upset. Actors like him are forced to constantly play people in love. Otherwise, there will be a scandal. What should he do if she gets offended? It's okay, really, the girl assured him. It's a lie that she's not jealous, but every time she is convinced that Doowon loves only her, he wants Bo-ra to always believe him. He took her hand and lifted her face by the chin. He asked if there was anything he could do. Yes, of course. And he kissed her again, passionately and long-like in a movie. The only difference was that it was a sincere kiss, not a fake one. The room was crammed with all kinds of equipment, cameras, monitors, and drives. It was so hot in there that even the air conditioning couldn't cool it down. A guy in a white t-shirt approached Doowon. He asked if he had run into the vice president here by chance. It had to be him. And Doowon asked why on earth he would come here. The guy said it might be because of the movie. He said definitely not. Was he coming for filming? Clearly he had another purpose. I'm sure he needs something here. It looks like a storm is coming, he said, as if talking about monsters, glancing at his phone. They're back in Korea. The same man who bought flowers from Bo-ra entered. He said he was sorry for the late visit. He is Park So-joon, vice president of CHG. The company where her boyfriend works. Bo-ra remembered. Doowon told me a lot about her, said So-joon. In that case, he probably knows something about her, the girl thought with horror. The man asked if she might remember him. He apologized for scaring her. He wanted to say hello when he saw her. But Doowon forbade him. Forbade him? It's hard to explain. He tried to do everything he could. Tears welled up in his eyes. He asked her to accept his gift as an apology, and he handed her a bouquet which was wilted for some reason. What was the reason for the bouquet? Park also wanted to earn her trust. He should tell her something. He received a photo from a reporter. He thinks she knows something. In the photo, she was with Doowon. How did this photo get to him? It's good that he managed to stop everything before it was published. However, he is not sure if he will be able to do it next time. Reporters are hunting for a sensation and have a nose for it. Park knows about her feelings for Doowon and approves of them. But now he is a successful actor. You could say he's at the height of his career, Bo-ra said. So she understands that perfectly well. He's glad she understands. Then he gets to the point, she needs to stay away from Doowon for a while. That's why he came. They were only together for a short time. She doesn't want to break up. Let them live together. Didn't he say to stay away? Yes, but only in public. Lee put down the coffee. Bo-ra asks if Park is married. He's not. Does he have a girlfriend? No. Then maybe he has feelings about them? No, he doesn't. She just thought so because he asked her to break up with Doowon. Would she have done that? Indeed, famous agencies usually offer such services. But his goal is longevity. It is not worth forcing them to break up. He asked them to try not to get caught by the paparazzi. Doowon finally has a relationship, and Park is happy because he thought he would never date due to emotional trauma, let alone get married. Ra wanted to ask about the trauma. Lee came in and apologized. Gayeon warned that a guest would arrive in an hour. Bo-ra suggested that Park discuss everything over lunch. But does Doowon really have trauma? The vice president spit out his coffee when he heard this question. Did he say that? Yes, a minute ago. Is it related to his ex? No. He didn't have any girlfriends before that, and he apologized. He misspoke, but his nervousness was too obvious. All right, she won't ask any more questions. He thanked her. He apologized and asked if she would allow him to ask something. Her secretary caught his attention. Bo-ra decided to check the information to see if Doowon really had no relationship with her, so she searched Google for articles about Doowon and his crushes. She found an article published a long time ago by an anonymous user nicknamed Lear. Do-won came to Bora again. She asked if the filming was over. Yes, he missed her very much, so he came to see her right after filming ended and he asked why So-jun had come. The girl explained that the reporters had gotten hold of the photo that caused a scandal in the family. It was very disturbing to be alone. He apologized for not thinking. She said there was no need to worry. His company had already taken care of the photo and it would not be released to the press. Do-eun asked what exactly they had told her, whether So-jun had done something stupid. He wasn't that kind of person, was he? No, she said it was nothing serious. The girl wondered whether to tell her boyfriend everything or whether it would be unnecessary, but she said aloud that everything was fine and he shouldn't worry. She suggested they have dinner together. He was upset that she had deliberately changed the subject. She whispered that she just wanted to get to the restaurant as soon as possible. Because there are too many people here now and everyone is looking at them, it annoys her. He said that in that case, he would rent out the whole restaurant. The couple laughed. A few days later, Bo-ra met the vice president again in the salon. She said that Do-eun told her that Park rarely comes to the set. He lied that he wanted to see how things were going here. From now on, he plans to come more often. She said that he had been here for several days, as if he were following someone. He clearly likes someone at Violet. She joked, "He must be in love, right?" The guy asked, "Is it love?" He mechanically adjusted his tie out of nervousness. "It looks like it." The man said dreamily that he seemed to have fallen in love with her at first sight. At first sight? And Do-woon asked menacingly. Who? Gyun covered her face with her hand in anticipation of a storm of emotions. The actor's face immediately darkened. So-jun was frightened by his reaction. "There's gonna be a fight," Bo-ra thought, noticing her lover's reaction. Bo-ra tried in vain to stop on Do-woon as she watched him lunge at the vice president with his fists. He shouted at his friend for daring to do such a thing. No one else could. The vice president blushed and asked what he was talking about. He fell in love at first sight. Lee decided not to interfere at that moment and said she had urgent business to attend to, although, of course, she would have gladly watched their love triangle unfold. But she would probably leave now. So-jun wanted to stop her. He shouted after her to wait, and that this was some kind of misunderstanding. Do-woon asked what misunderstanding, because Ra stood between them, spreading her arms, and shouted to stop it immediately. And could they discuss it somewhere else? People are watching here. When they closed the door, Do-woon asked So-jun how he dared to confess to his girlfriend. He denied it. The one he likes, the one he confessed his feelings to, is not her, but the one next to her. Gyeon just didn't understand. He couldn't stay here any longer, and the man stormed out of the office, asking Bo-ru to explain everything to this idiot. Bo-ra confirmed Pak's words. What about the flowers he gave her, which she heard about from manager Lee? Oh, the flowers? The ones on the table? Those ones? Yeah, they're wilted great. If they were fresh, he definitely wouldn't have let him go. She was surprised when she was given the bouquet. Even bees don't like them. What strange standards Do-won has, the girl thought, and they are quite close. Maybe he is very grateful to him, so June helped him a lot during difficult times. If it weren't for him, he wouldn't be here today. She guessed that it was about the injury her friend mentioned. The girl decided that she probably knew nothing about Do-won, despite having worked in this industry for a long time. What exactly interests her? She wants to find out what others don't know. For example, what he liked as a child. He joked that he only liked Bo-ra. She blushed. He suggested looking at photos. There are photos of him and his sisters on social media. Everyone is laughing except him. They look happy, don't they? Are there any more? Yes, of course, quite a few. The next photo was of him crying on his older sister's chest in the pool. Then he is riding a bike. So cute. His sisters always teased him. Hard to believe. Why are there only childhood photos here? He asked Bo-ro to look at one of his sisters. And do me, if he meets her, he'll run away. He's afraid of her, but she wouldn't even kill a bug, would she? Don't be fooled. Don't even talk to her. Isn't she abroad? He thought so too. But she's coming back. If he meets her, he should run away without looking back. In the evening, Bo-ra came home thinking that she would not see her sisters. Du-un, her grandmother told her to sit down. She wanted to talk. Her cousin was sitting next to her. What is it? Yan Bo-ra asked innocently. Her grandmother said that the girl would have to leave their home soon. Meaning leave home altogether? What are they talking about? Have they been stirring each other up again? Ji-young is going to marry the man she met. It is necessary to secure it quickly before the rumors spread further. It seemed to her that it would be better to do everything before it became too hot. Because Ra asked if they had already chosen a date. Summer is the best time for a wedding. She agreed when she heard the answer. Good decision. So we need to prepare well. Is she going to have the wedding in her salon? Yes, of course. Obviously, everyone wants to have their wedding at Violet. She understood that, but she didn't think Ji-yeon would agree. Well, as long as she behaves normally, there won't be any problems. Behave normally? Are you done? Yeonbo Ra is a bitch. Ji-young jumped to her feet. Her eyes were filled with rage. Her grandmother yelled at her to stop immediately, but she indignantly asked her grandmother why she was always on Bo-ra's side. Not always, Grandma objected, clutching her head. She should only help her unconditionally, shouted the younger woman. How could she defend that insolent girl? It's all because of Ji-yeon, the old woman said angrily. Does she know how people laugh at them? Because of the rumors about her breakup. If only she hadn't told everyone she met that she was dating An Do-woon, they could have avoided this. But her parents don't know the news, yet said the girl. Even abroad, they found out everything. And they both agree that she and her husband should live here. Ji-yeon needs to acquire good skills as the successor to the Serum Corporation. It's better for her. Before the wedding, she needs to vacate her room and renovate the second floor. It's time to become independent. It will be more convenient to work. Let her try to move out by the end of the week. Bori's jaw dropped. This is so unexpected freedom. Of course, she always wanted it, but this is confusing. Well, are you happy? Her cousin bristled. Maybe it would be better if she were dead. They switched places. What is she talking about? Don't play dumb, her sister snapped. They are different. So what's the difference between them? Bo-ra asked coldly, instinctively crossing her arms over her chest. Is she still asking? She is blessed by both sides of the family. She is not like Bo-ra, who should never have been born. That's just her opinion. Bo-ra defended herself confidently. This move was unexpected for Ji-yeon. She wasn't used to her sister being so capable. What is she talking about? Everyone knows that's how it is, her cousin said sarcastically, habitually poking her sister with her finger. Of course, as a child, she didn't understand her parents either. But now she understands perfectly well. Even if she herself remained unhappy, they were happy and finally had peace. So she wanted to ask Ji-yeon if she herself was happy, because soon she would marry the man her family had chosen for her, just like her parents. Blessed by everyone. Then she should have a joyful face. So why does she look so bitter? The girl blushed deeply and looked down in embarrassment. As her sister said, she is blessed by both families. Naturally, she should be happier than Bo-ru, isn't that so? Ji-yeon hung her head and wondered what happiness was. What was it like to be happy? What independent? That's wonderful. She always wanted to move out of that house. Do-gyeon rejoiced for her friend. That's exactly how it was. The blonde confirmed Lee's assumption. Lee asked what was wrong with her voice. Just excited, the girl replied. She thought she would be able to leave this house easily. Now she had to look for a new place to live. It turns out that even the granddaughter of a famous family can be nervous about finding a home. Having money doesn't mean you can just buy a nice apartment. You need to know a lot. Yes, she's right, Do-gyeon agreed. Maybe she could stay with her until she found a decent place, the girl asked. She would be quiet. Yeon wouldn't even notice her. She would be all for it, her friend said sadly. But she has a teenage son. How could they live in the same room? Yes, indeed. Then she has no choice but to stay in the salon. But she has a boyfriend. So why worry? Lee's voice sounds very playful. What is she up to? She knows this is her favorite part. Don't tell Do-un, Bo-ra warned her. Why? Because he's been so stressed lately, Bo-ra doesn't want him to have to deal with her problems too. So what is she planning to do? Don't worry, she'll think of something. As she said, she has money. She'll definitely find an apartment with monthly or full payment soon, and she'll move. So, no one should be told about her move until she finds an apartment. The girl shouted into the phone, knowing her friend's loose tongue. Is that clear? It's a pity, but she understood Guyon trusts the director. This person can she trust her? Bo-Ra thought. She shouldn't have done that. You can only trust yourself, and even then, only when you're sober. 5 days later. Even if that's the case now. Hee hee. I never thought I'd come to live with Do-woon, the girl said dreamily, looking at the high rise. 4 days ago, and Do-won learned from Guyon Lee that Bo-Ra was looking for a place to live near her work. Good job. Lee, hiding behind a coffee tray, excused herself, saying she had a lot of work to do. The guy asked if she had anything in mind yet. No, she thinks she'll stay at the Violet until she finds something suitable. Is she comfortable here? Yes, it's quite nice. He pointed to himself and said with a beaming look that he could recommend a good place to live. The apartment had a wonderful view and was surrounded by many amenities. It was a great place to live, and it was close to her salon. Why was she looking at him like that? Because she guessed what place he was talking about. Wasn't it the office tell, the studio apartment where he lived, his home? But she was wrong. Maybe she was hoping to move in with him. Do-woon thought, noticing how sad his beloved looked. What do you mean hoping? She said angrily. Of course not. How cute. So if Miss Yeon is shy, she blushes instantly, the guy laughed. Although, of course, their houses will be next door to each other. His close friend lived in this house, but he had an urgent need to move. So she can move there right away? Bo-Ra asked excitedly, putting down her empty cup. Yes, he's in a hurry, so he's looking for a tenant on excellent terms. The apartment was shown by Jeon-ah. Bo-Ra was very surprised. Why was she here? Because this was their home. But she said they were neighbors. That's how it was. He lived there, but unfortunately there was a scandal which Park So-joon and Guri hushed up. In that case, Bo-Ra apologizes, but she will look for another place to live. No way, the assistant cried. The thing is, they had already moved all the furniture. She didn't want to say it, but this time they were moving to a much bigger house with the walk-in closet of her dreams. Her older brother had generously helped out. Ever since Jong-ah started programming, she had dreamed of having her own walk-in closet. But if Bo-Ra refused their offer, her dream would go down the drain. She'll take this house, Bo-Ra thought. So she moved into the house across from Do-woon. After bringing her suitcase with her belongings, the girl realized that she had forgotten to ask for the code to the front door. The password is the same as Do-woon said, Jong-ah. She would have to ask him. Do-won might be on a shoot, so she would send him a message. What is she doing here? Asked the dark-haired girl, whose face was hidden by a cap. Bo-Ra laughed and apologized for the inconvenience, explaining that she had moved in today. But suddenly it dawned on the blonde that the girl hadn't opened the door. She had just received a message with the password, and Bo-Ra entered without noticing that the dark-haired stranger had approached to memorize her apartment number. Yoo Joo-ha arrived to meet the Do-won sisters from their flight. The first to notice him was the one his friend was afraid of, An Do-mi. It seemed that her brother-in-law was also wary of her, as he couldn't hide his eerie excitement. An Do-mi raised her hand in greeting and called Yoo Joo-ha her brother. Next to her stood the Do-won twins, and Do-in and Do-yoon. They all had black hair and gray eyes like their brother. The man asked how long they had been waiting. A little longer, and we would have started calling Siri, Do-yoon said, seriously. He thanked them for waiting, and he asked why they had all suddenly come home. An Do-mi explained that they were all on vacation. From the very beginning, she had planned to come alone. No way! She was shocked when she found out. Do-yoon added. What are they talking about? The man asked. About Do-woon falling in love. And Do-mi asked, or rather stated, how did they find out? Did Se-ra tell them everything? Mi silently showed a photo of Bo-ro and their sister in his cafe. That's why she's asking her brother to take her to Do-won immediately. Mi smiled. He silently wished his brother-in-law luck. Meanwhile, at the Violet Salon, Bo-Ra was catching her breath after successfully completing a large flower delivery project for one client. Guyon Lee congratulated the director on her new home and asked if she was happy to live closer to her beloved. Soon, it would be time for the wedding. She didn't think so. She just lived nearby. If they woke up and saw each other in the window, first thing in the morning, they would soon move in together and sleep together. Lee teased. Bo-ra asked her friend to stop fantasizing, but Gyun loved romance and spicy stories and decided to buy something for them. And what about Gyun's personal life? Her friend retorted. Isn't she interested in anyone? What is the director talking about? She just cares about other people's relationships and is focused on work? But if someone caught her eye, would she give him a chance? Bo-ra asked vaguely. Lee thanked her for her interest and explained that watching other people's relationships develop is much more interesting than developing her own. Come on, Bo-ra still advises her to keep an eye out sometimes. Maybe there is already someone worthy in her circle. For this purpose, she is letting her go early today. The girl laughed. If she finds love, she will get a bonus. The blonde heard the greeting to Yeonbo Ri, CEO of Violet, and recognized Undomi. She had to warn him immediately. Mai is surprised. Does Bo-ri like 19-year-olds? Oh, she doesn't? The blonde couldn't understand. Is she being tested? What does that mean? She means pornography. Yes, exactly that. She had no idea. She hadn't even thought about it. Bo-ra tried to cope with the shock. Well, does she like their brother? If she imagined that with Do-woon, she would like it, the director ventured. And she really does like him. Too bad I wanted to take him for myself. She got scared, I guess. She came to look at a wedding dress, but when she saw the director, she had questions. It's okay. Does she want a special dress? She knows what she wants, but has no idea what her partner wants to wear. Do you need a men's suit? No, 2 wedding dresses. Oh, you mean a second dress to wear after the ceremony? No, the bride and groom are 2 girls. So that's what she wanted to take? That's right. Mi confirmed her guess. With despair on his face, An Do-woon burst into the salon. I wouldn't want her to be taken by a man like Do-woon, his sister said in a sweet voice. What does she want from his girlfriend? Do-woon said menacingly, shielding Bo-ru with his whole body flirting. Where have you ever seen a sister steal her brother's girlfriend? Isn't she his sister anymore? I hope he dies. And Domi snapped angrily, throwing a notebook at her brother. Did he dare to go against his sister? He rushed at her with his fists and accused her of being the first to hit on Bo-ru. Wasn't he being too open for someone who was hiding a relationship? Why did they file an application with the registry office then? Nothing to hide. In sorrow and in joy they will be together. Fate brought them together. And Do-won replied mechanically and hugged his bride. Oh, she didn't finish talking to his girlfriend. And she drove her brother away from Bo-ra. Mi said that she was a writer and the 4th sister of this scumbag. Yeonbo-ra also introduced herself and said, just in case, that she and Do-won had serious intentions. So serious that they were even thinking about getting engaged? That's right. He jealously hugged Bo-ra. The blonde said she would be interested in reading Undumi's books. It's not difficult for the author to talk about them, but will Bo-ra like them? She is only a 19-year-old writer. However, despite her young age, she is considered a master of her craft. By the way, where are the rest of the sisters? Her brother asked. He heard that they had organized a gathering here. She doesn't know where the older one is, and the twins are wandering around supermarkets. It was time for her to go too. They decided to meet when everyone had finished their business. She invited Bo-ru to have a snack together. She would stay in Korea for a while for that. Do-won freaked out. Why? And immediately got hit on the head with another notebook. Stop throwing things. Domi takes Bo-ra by the hands and invites her once again to chat one-on-one. There is something she needs to know, so see you later. Do-woon grumbled that she didn't even say goodbye to him, but Bo-ra promised to see him again, intrigued by the story she was promised. Downstairs, and Domi's older sister and her husband were waiting impatiently in the car, complaining that they had to wait so long for her. How is Do-woon doing? Asked An Sera. He seems much happier now. Has she met Bo-ru? Asked Yoo Joo-ha. Of course, just as I thought she's a good girl. Do-woon loves her so much I hope it doesn't backfire on him. Maybe she's changed him. I hope Bo-ra doesn't leave him. Her sisters are on her side. Left alone, Do-woon apologized for his sister. She must have scared his girlfriend. No, it's okay. He is the only one in the family who has a bad relationship with her, the boy confessed. The girl patted him on the back and said that everything was ahead of them. What exactly? His relationship with Domi. It's just like in a drama. It's interesting to watch them. He said that when they were kids, they had similar tastes, so they fought all the time. But taking even his girlfriend is unthinkable. It turns out he became her main target. It was fun to see him from a completely different angle. Next to his sisters, Duwon is like a child. What's wrong with him? Can a child do that? He asked after a passionate kiss. Well, only if he's a grown man, the girl joked. Why don't we go home together? The guy suggested playfully. But it seems like he can walk home on his own. Bo-ra continued to tease him, but he didn't want to calm down and asked to visit her in the evening. She refused, saying that it was too early to publicize their relationship, but after moving, she didn't expect to meet someone at her home. Tired of cleaning, she sat down and suddenly saw a cockroach. She ran around in a panic, looking for something to kill it with. She screamed so loudly that Do-woon came to her rescue. Sometimes you have to check deliveries, he advised, wiping up the wet spot. Anything can get into a box on the way. He offered to help with the cleaning. She said he looked tired already, but Do-woon rolled up his sleeves and offered to hang something on the wall so they wouldn't look so empty. Well, she didn't have any photos. No one played with her when she was a child. And now she was all grown up. Oh, how about this? Do-woon asked. Going on a date tomorrow? Why did he decide that? Bo-ra asked. Because the drama is coming out tomorrow, they have to watch it. Maybe she wants to go somewhere else. She doesn't know. What would he like to do? He has an idea. Go to an amusement park. It was impossible to recognize Do-won the next day. She teased him, asking if he had gone too far. Not at all. No one would recognize him. But then he asked if she was embarrassed by his appearance. She assured him that she wasn't. Since Bo-ra hadn't been anywhere yet, he suggested starting with the roller coaster. Suddenly, he was distracted by a message that came to his phone. Bo-ra asked what happened, and he replied that it was just spam. To respond to him in some way, Bo-ra put on rabbit ears, which amused him greatly. After riding the thrilling rides to their heart's content and getting a rush of excitement, they decided to commemorate the day. So they made a wonderful photo collage. It was especially appropriate to pair her rabbit ears with his wolf ears. Suddenly, the girl noticed that Do-woon had forgotten his phone. She wasn't going to read the messages, but they kept popping up on the screen. Text messages like, "Are you interested?" and "Where did you go?" made her anxious. Finally, he returned with churros in a great mood until she asked about the messages. He became very agitated. He tried to explain in as calm a tone as possible that it was spam. But why were there so many? Okay, he couldn't lie anymore. It was probably a fan. It had happened before. He would have to change his number. Did he look like a womanizer? Okay, he should enjoy the donut while it was still hot. Maybe his worries were unfounded. If Do-won was okay, then his worries were unfounded. The next day in the dressing room, Bo-ra saw that the first episode of the drama had been released and watched it. It seemed that everything was indeed fine. Suddenly, she heard her friends discussing the drama. The girls were sure that Do-won was dating Park Si-hyun. The actress in question came in and said that unfortunately, this was not the case. She thanked them for watching and asked them not to spread rumors. She is only interested in acting. She hopes that her work will pay off as soon as she receives the award for Best Actress, so she is not going to ruin her career. The actress recognized the director of Violet Bo-ra, said that from now on, she was her fan. She played her role perfectly, and she asked for an autograph. She really is amazing. Bo-ra thought she appreciates and loves her work, and she was still jealous of her for Do-won. He sent her a message to come down to the parking lot. Suddenly, she was overcome with horror. His white car had been spray-painted with the question, "Did you change the apartment password?" Do-woon arrived apologizing for making her wait. So-jun had called him. Noticing that Bo-ra was upset, he asked her what was wrong. She pointed to the damaged hood. It was her fault. The parking lot should be more carefully guarded. He assured her that it was nothing to worry about, that she shouldn't cry over trifles, that he was there for her, and hugged her. Suddenly, he noticed someone behind the column. There was a script lying on the floor with the words, "First time, leading female role." "Good luck, Park Si-hyun," written on it. The actress who was hiding there realized that she had accidentally left a trace. She approached and said that they understood that she wasn't trying to eavesdrop, right? Daewon asked Bo-ru to go home saying he would catch up with her. He had something to discuss with Shi-hyun. He whispered not to worry. He apologized to the actress for scaring her and handed her the script. So, does that mean Doan is having a secret romance? Won't that cause problems? He's very cautious, really. Even a fool can see that they're dating. She promised to keep her mouth shut, but let her promise that there won't be any problems with filming the drama. No scandals. Because this drama is very important. It's her first leading role. He doesn't want that kind of ending either. He is also an actor and is always completely devoted to his work. For the sake of the drama and Shi-hyun, he will try to avoid scandals. And he shook her hand. Although belatedly, she congratulates him on his relationship. The next day, the director of the Violet Salon, the vice president of CHG An Do-eun, and Lee Do-gyun gathered in her office to investigate the car incident. Lee presented a photo taken in front of the parking lot entrance. It shows the young woman in the cab, whom Bo-ra encountered when entering her apartment after moving. Lee explained that she was unable to take any other photos because the young woman easily avoided the cameras in the parking lot. Weren't there reporters and paparazzi everywhere? Do-eun wondered. They are sure that no one else was there. The more I look at this photo, the more I am convinced that this is all very strange. Park Seo-joon said thoughtfully, usually such fans like to leave traces, because it's like some kind of performance. That's why they won't be able to catch her. But if they want to let them try, Do-yeon suggested calling the police. But there are too few clues and there is no evidence. Security needs to be tightened. The information could have leaked from the company. Park will check. Bo-ra's idea to review the list of visitors to Violet is also viable. This task was assigned to Gyun Lee. If Ms. Lee finds anything, Park So-joon asks her to contact him personally. He will be waiting, eagerly, said the man with warmth in his eyes. The next bride to arrive at the salon was Ji-yeon. She did not like the dress she was offered at all. What's wrong with it? Isn't this the dress she was looking at earlier? Because in real life, it's completely different, replied the bride. The details of the dress are vivid, but they are all monotonous. She wants a dress that will make her the center of attention, even in the dark. A sparkling beaded dress would be just the thing, or one made entirely of lace. But she will look beautiful in any dress. At this rate, she will never make it to her wedding. What should they do if she can't decide on the style of the dress? Bo-ra was angry. What does she have to do with it? They're the ones who can't find something she likes. Ji-yeon grumbled. Instead of making accusations, maybe she should bring the catalog. Ji-yeon can't just do whatever she wants here. Lee can return the dress that Ji-yeon chose and show it to the girls who also reserved it. It's new this season, so it will sell out quickly. Ji immediately shouted that no one should give the dress to anyone else until she tried it on. Suddenly, she received a notification on her phone and immediately showed it to Bo-ri with the question, "What is she cheating?" In the hot news about the meeting of the alleged lovers, An Do-eun and Park Si-hyun reporter Kwon Hyun-woo published a photo of the two main characters of the drama from the parking lot. Thanks to this tabloid, the fake news quickly spread among fans of the new drama and was actively discussed by real people and bots in the comments. The next day, headlines were filled with phrases such as loving glances, obvious touches, passionate relationship in real life, and matching outfits. CHG was buzzing like a beehive. The entire staff denied the hype and tried to call Park Si-hyun's agency, which deliberately ignored all calls. An Do-woon barely made it to the office and asked if anyone had managed to get through to Park Si-hyun's agency. So-joon, who had been thinking he was going crazy for several minutes, said that they had been unsuccessful, but they had a solution: to launch another viral news story. Do-yoon was upset. If it didn't work, it would only benefit the actress's agency. So-joon was impressed. He cherished his girlfriend so much. The guy called Bo-ru and apologized for the shocking news. "It's not your fault, there's no need to apologize," said the blonde. He thanked her for her understanding and promised that a retraction would be published soon. Lee asked the director if she was okay. Yes, after all, they have a relationship in the drama. It's no surprise that these rumors arose. Guyon said that it was true. If there is no gossip about the actors' real relationships, then the drama can be considered a failure. All dramas with similar rumors are successful. An article refuting the rumors has already appeared, Gyun announced a moment later, so there is no longer any reason for concern. If Shihyun issues a refutation, everything will settle down. Meanwhile, Shihyun unsuccessfully sought permission from her agency to publish a refutation of the rumors. Does she really not understand, or is she pretending? The agency director asked her in response. They'll use this to promote her. It's the easiest way. When else will they have such an opportunity? It's been 10 years since her debut, and for the first time, she finally got the lead role. So we have to hold on to her. The peaceful promotion is over. And if she can't handle scandals like this, then there's no point in continuing her career. Is that clear? Let her endure it. Unless she wants to go back to supporting roles, from now on, she'll be in leading roles all the time. She doesn't want to become famous this way. She has only just begun to promote her career. Shihyun cried bitterly out of despair and anger. She called Do-eun and asked for a meeting. The next day before filming, she repented for asking to avoid problems, but she herself became the cause of inconvenience. Let her convey her apologies to the director of Violet. No, she's not to blame. There's no need to apologize. He understands. No, it's because of her. The agency director decided that this was an effective way to promote her and forbade the publication of a retraction. But she wants to be recognized for her good acting. She doesn't need popularity through scandals. If Do-eun knows a good journalist, she asks for his contact information. He can recommend a journalist. But will everything be okay? She could suffer because of this. She understands the risk of returning to secondary roles. But that's not important to her actors who become famous. Not because of their good acting, are losers. A vandal she knows, the girl in the cap, was reading a chat about news about Do-eun and Park Si-hyun. Someone posted proof that the couple was dating, a photo from a kissing rehearsal. This made her angry. She slammed her fist on the table and shouted that Do-eun was hers. Only hers. The girl's purple eyes seemed to shoot lightning bolts. The next morning, Bo-ri visited Mishi, put her professional camera on the table, and asked if she was disturbing her. She wanted to discuss the news. Bo-ra said she was very happy to see her. Do you need photos for the novel? Everyday life is also important, replied the guest. The photo shoot is just an excuse. She came for something else, because of the scandalous article about her brother. Compared to Bo-roy, he's a real jerk. Mi insisted. Can't he be more careful when he has a girlfriend like that? He's behaving terribly. She advised her to dump him and come to her. Everything is fine. He explained everything and published a retraction on the same day. She shouldn't have started dating him in the first place. Although it didn't last long, it must have been very painful and her heart was broken into pieces. It's not clear why, but Mi is angrier than she is. Bo-ra laughed. Her sister also failed to notice. She should have taught him to be more careful. Bo-ri thinks he grew up to be a good person, thanks to his older sister. Yes, thank you to her for taking the poor guy under her wing. Well, she had to take a couple of photos before it got dark. She made sure Bo-ra was okay, then went to work. If there were any problems, she could count on her sisters. They were on her side. At the same time, in the lobby of the Violet Salon, security guards surrounded the entire perimeter of the set. Park So-joon asked Do-woon if he really couldn't remember the script. No, it's just too crowded, the guy said. Park replied that they couldn't remove the security guards because there were too many journalists. They had to stop them. Do-eun knew, but she wished there were fewer people. It's all because of Park Si-hyun's agency. They won't publish an article with explanations. He sent their employees there. They don't even answer their phones. What is he going to do? Asked Do-woon. Park said they had no other choice. They couldn't leave things as they were. He tried to talk to Park Si-hyun, but she wasn't responding either. Do-woon suggested waiting. Park Si-hyun isn't the type to do something like that. It can't be. The rumors aren't true, are they? So, June asked. They're not true. Do-woon confirmed. Then he saw that a security alert had come in from his home surveillance camera. He was very worried about Bo-ru. So June asked what had happened. Wasn't that his apartment? Bad news. He would have to change his password again. It was the one who had painted graffiti on his car asking why he had changed his password. She came to his house. He had to increase security there too. Do-woon was frozen with fear. This intruder was not like the previous ones. Park Shi-hyun took out the business card Do-woon had given her. She looked around to make sure no one was around and dialed the reporter's number. Someone answered. She was delighted and introduced herself. An Do-woon told her what had happened, and the reporter's pleasant voice came through the receiver. But could she tell him more about it? Okay, a representative of their agency, the actress began to explain. At that moment, she was pushed down the stairs. She fell to the bottom and showed no signs of life. Her phone was broken, but the reporter's questions could still be heard coming from it unanswered. The criminal with a crazy look in her eyes stood at the top of the stairs and gloated. Who wanted to take her husband away from her? Police cars surrounded the Fialka salon. Special forces in black uniforms were everywhere. Investigators photographed the scene of the tragedy. The detective watched closely. Bo-ru and Gyeon Lee introduced Detective Kim. The director asked what had happened and if anyone had been hurt. Kim replied that Park Shi-hyun had fallen down the emergency stairs and was now dying. She had to undergo emergency surgery. This was his first time dealing with something like this. Bo-ra asked if it was an accident. She hoped it wasn't a crime. The detective said that the circumstances were still unclear. Could they check the CCTV cameras? It would be very helpful for the investigation. Yes, of course. Have Manager Lee take the guests to the security room, Bo-ra said. But there are no cameras at the scene of the crime, Gayo noted with concern. Bo-ra was angry. She had recently asked for additional cameras to be installed, hadn't she? Yes, the installation was in progress. She contacted security. They said that the cameras had not yet been installed on the emergency stairs. Bo-ra was shocked. So was the detective. The director, Lee So-jun, and Do-yoon listened intently to the report. It was about Park Shi-hyun's accident at the Violet Salon. Some say it happened on the set of a drama. The actress is currently in intensive care after undergoing complex surgery. At the moment, the police are trying to determine whether it was an accident or a crime. It is worth noting that not long ago, Park Shi-hyun was involved in a scandal with An Do-woon. This has gone too far, said Bo-ra. Definitely confirmed So-jun. Bo-ra asked Lee if she had already contacted the visitors to explain the situation. Yes, fortunately, they understand everything. What about the drama? This incident is making filming difficult. Do-woon explained to Bo-ra that they would take a week's break. Without one of the main characters, it would be very difficult to film the rest of the series. Perhaps the director is already looking for other candidates for this role? Is he going to change the main character? Bo-ra asked. The main role cannot be left vacant for long. Besides, it adds pressure from producers and investors. They simply have no choice. She wanted the award for Best Actress so badly. How is Shi-hyun doing now? She's probably still unconscious. Lee and So-jun discussed the details of the incident. It's a serious matter, and there are no cameras at the emergency exit, so the investigation has stalled. Was there anyone suspicious at the scene? Maybe. Next to the emergency exit where it all happened is a lobby, and there are security cameras in the elevators across from it. Lee thought, it must be difficult for the police to investigate this case. Have the employees of Fialka been checked yet? Bo-ra asked Lee. Yes, they have been cleared of suspicion. Some of them said they saw Park Shi-hyun alone as she was walking toward the emergency exit. Bo-ra was surprised. An Do-woon decided to call the reporter the actress had been talking to before she fell. He told them that a tragedy had befallen Park Shi-hyun while she was talking to them on the phone. Bo-ra and So-jun were listening to the conversation. An Do-woon asked them to send it right away. Bo-ra asked what it was about. An Do-woon explained to her that he had introduced Park Shi-hyun to one of the reporters. She tried to tell the reporter the truth about the scandal between them. That's when it all happened. Did the reporter hear anything strange during the call? Probably yes, there is even a recording. It was just sent. We can listen to it together. Good afternoon. This is actress Park Si-hyun. On Do-yoon told them what happened. Could she tell them more about it? Bo-ra listened carefully. Okay. A representative of their agency. At this point, you can hear her screaming. We need to listen to the end. Yes, who wanted to take her husband away? It turns out there was another person at the scene of the crime. At the same time, the editor protested against replacing the lead actress. He was told that Park Si-hyun was in serious condition, therefore the lead actress would be replaced. Nonsense. The lead role for the first time in 10 years, and now she's going to lose it. We can't let that happen. We have to bring Park Si-hyun back to consciousness and get her back on set. The director shouted. Who dares to come in at a time like this? Oh no, why isn't the representative answering his phone? Representative Kim heard that the drama had caused a lot of commotion in recent days. One of the main actors was injured, so it doesn't matter. He answered the call. By the way, the producers are talking about replacing the actors. I heard that the penalty is so severe that it's better not to know. Can Representative Kim say what he thinks about this? There is a way to stop everything. They are on good terms with him, so why would he lie? Even if he wanted to, he couldn't do that because of the debuting children. Of course, he didn't expect anything else from the chairman, but first he needed to listen to him carefully. What did the chairman want from him? The next morning, Ahn Do-woon and So-joon heatedly discussed the latest media nonsense, claiming that Park Si-hyun had suffered because of poor security. Although there is evidence that there was another person there, So-joon suggested that perhaps her agency had orchestrated and spread the rumor it had happened before. In the film industry, rumors fade quickly, so they need to be stoked. CHG wanted to continue producing new episodes of the drama. Although the ratings were good, no one planned to make a fuss. It sounds terrible, but that's the reality. Do-yoon asked why they didn't report the recording to the police. So-joon replied that it was too risky. Do-woon is ready to testify because he is starring alongside her. We must not forget that Do-woon has already been involved in a scandal with Pa Shin-hyun. The press will twist everything again, and Bo-ra may suffer. Moreover, the evidence was not provided immediately, which means it was deliberately concealed. Yes, he probably rushed into it. An actor's life is like walking on a razor's edge. Soo-joon assured him that he would find more evidence. We must act before it's too late, so we have to wait until my brother gives him the order. Okay? What brother? Do-woon muttered. So-joon said he would go to John-woo under the pretext of gathering more evidence. Instead, the vice president bought a couple of iced lattes and, wishing everyone a good day, pushed them into Lee Do-gyun's office, opening the door. Then he entered himself and smiled warmly. Why did the vice president come when there was no filming today? He came to help his boss, Lee. The director said that Gyun was reviewing the surveillance camera footage on his own, and he offered coffee. In fact, he probably didn't hear that she was told to delegate some of the work to her subordinates. It's okay. It's their company's business, not the vice president's, so he can go back. Thanks for the coffee. Still, he believes they need to work together. Lee began to suspect his true motives, because only they know that this incident was not an accident, but a crime. He knows the faces of everyone on the film set, so that will make the investigation much easier. Is this a file from the surveillance camera? Can they watch it together? He took the mouse from her. She noted that he would have a lot of problems. He replied that he had decided to be persistent. Suddenly watching him work intently, even though he could have delegated it to any subordinate, Lee concluded that So-joon was perfect. 3 hours later, he noticed some unfamiliar faces, but Lee pointed out that they were their employees. Another 4 hours later, he said he didn't think there would be so many visitors. Violet Kyung replied that it was not surprising, as it was the best salon in Korea. Just as they both decided to rub their tired eyes, the young lady in the cap appeared on the screen. But they missed the moment and decided to call it a day. So-joon apologized for being late but suggested that Lee go out to dinner with him. At that moment, her son called her. Her response, "Yes, son," sounded ambiguous. She promised to buy pork cutlets. Gion apologized and said she had to go because her child was waiting for her at home. So-joon didn't lose his composure and offered her a ride. He knew a wonderful restaurant nearby that served pork cutlets. Lee sat in the front seat, shocked. How did she end up buying pork chops with this man? She admitted that she used to take her son out to dinner at various restaurants after work. There was a small restaurant near their home that served pork cutlets, and he grew to love them. These are very good memories for a child. So Jun agreed. She thanked him for keeping her company while they waited for their order. So June ventured a risky compliment. The boy must be very strong if he takes after Chef Lee. They must be very happy with him. As they parted, he promised to take her to a restaurant where the pork cutlets were even tastier next time. She was surprised. He must be a big fan of this dish? That's right. So Jun confirmed. And he has plenty of free time, Lee laughed. She thought so. It was nice to spend time with him. They wished each other good night. He watched her until she went inside. His cheeks were flushed, and he dreamed of having dinner with her again next time. A few days later, there was a discussion at the agency about the drama's advertising campaign. The director slammed his hand on the table. It couldn't be that they still hadn't found a new actress. Was the company's image important to director Kim? The agency, Park Shi-hyun, had already announced her departure. They had to act as quickly as possible. Yes, due to many accidents, scandals, rumors, and so on, no one is rushing to take the role. Director Kim was told to act. Everything had calmed down long ago. Could it be that no star was found? What do they think of Chae Hee-roo, who debuted last year? She's good in public and has decent skills. Has he lost his mind? How can a completely green girl win over the audience? Has he thought about the ratings? If she's not better than Park Si-hyun, then it's not even worth considering. Suddenly, an agitated secretary rushed into the meeting room and said that they were in trouble. They were receiving repeated complaints demanding that the commercial be canceled. The director clutched his head. If they were going to take on a newcomer, it would only be to solve the problem with the advertisers. He picked up the phone. It was the chairman calling. The director was delighted to hear the news. Is that true? Of course, they'll be more than happy. Okay, then let them know. See you later. Great, it's all settled. They had just found a new actress for the lead role. A press release had to be prepared immediately. Kim asked who she was. As far as he knew, most of the actors had refused. Let him wait with her. The ratings will be even higher than with Park Si-hyun. The director will be surprised to hear this. The director rejoiced. Well, let them come up with a headline for the press release. The next day, the news appeared under the headline, "The Return of the Virtuoso. Reunion after 15 years with the talented actor Ahn Do-woon." No way! Who do they think she is? It's on the news right now. I have to watch it. The brilliant actress Yoo returns from Brown after 3 years of absence. Bo-ra asked if she could help him with rehearsals. Do-woon gladly agreed. Filming was tomorrow, and he hadn't seen the new actress yet. The director said it was a secret. It will be difficult to do this with a new actress. Do-woon's face darkened, and he hid behind the script. He wants to rehearse with Bo-ra if she doesn't mind. The girl agreed enthusiastically and was ready to start immediately. She was clearly intrigued by the idea of such a game, although she explained it to herself as the importance of his work. Do-woon suggested starting with a scene where he had a fairly long dialogue with the main character. The blonde tried her best reciting an appeal to her partner to be a man and do it. Or she promised on behalf of the heroine she would take the initiative into her own hands. Do-woon played along. Okay, but let his beloved know that he only has good intentions towards her. Bo-ra pretended to be angry, but it seemed very natural. How could he treat her like that? He swore that he loved her and only her. Did he ever love her? The boy recalled her complaints at the amusement park and the recent scandal, and was genuinely indignant. What was she talking about? He still loved only her. Didn't his heart belong to her completely and utterly? How could she know what was in his heart? Bo-ra stepped into her role. Where's the proof? He had never even hugged her passionately and truly when she wanted it so much. And he had never kissed her, except for once. Oh, she wants a kiss? Then he'll do it right now. He brought his lips closer to hers and she closed her eyes. She convinced herself that it was just acting. She came to her senses a few moments later when she was already lying on the bed and he was on top of her, embracing her with his whole body. She responded to his embrace with complete reciprocity. Their passion multiplied by 2 burned like a fire. Her cheeks were burning and she tried to convince herself not to be nervous that it wasn't real. She touched his back with her fingertips. Suddenly, unable to restrain himself any longer, he asked her seriously if they could continue. And Bo-ra could no longer resist his pressure and answered her passionate lover, yes, this was definitely not a game. The next day, he recalled with disappointment how it had all ended the day before. The phone rang. Doan heard on the receiver that his friend had checked the cameras and found nothing suspicious. The guy was angry. This man ruined the whole atmosphere with his call because Ra was giggling. A moment later, she also received a call. It was Lee. That's how friends sometimes save your honor and ruin your mood. Bo-ra was happy for her friend. Didn't Do-won think that Lee and So-jun had grown closer? In the end, nothing happened yesterday. It was nice, but still. He didn't think a phone call would get in their way. A frightened young man ran up to Do-woon from behind. For some reason, he was wearing a t-shirt with the logo of the superheroine Wonder Woman. He asked if the actor had seen anyone here. Do-woon asked who exactly he was looking for. There were a lot of people around. The guy replied that he was looking for a new actress. The actor was surprised. Oh, she's already here. Who is she? And he looked around. It was a dark-haired girl with long hair and purple eyes. She looked at Do-woon lovingly. She approached him and hugged him, which surprised him and seemed to make him uncomfortable. Lee rushed over to Bo-ra with the news. Yoo-jin, it's Yoo-jin. Hadn't Bo-ra heard of her? She had once been famous for her childhood role. Bo-ra had no idea who she was. She didn't watch TV all day. Gyeon lamented. Everything had started so well. If she hadn't gone abroad to study, she would probably have become a very popular actress. She was her fan. Lee admitted. Bo-ra said she understood everything, that she could calm down, and covered her ears. So the role of Park Shi-hoon went to Yoo-jin? Yes, it's like fate, isn't it? Gyun raved. 15 years ago, Ahn Do-woon already starred with Yoo-jin in one project. So this isn't the first time they've worked together? Bo-ra asked. Yes, Lee replied. It was a film in which Ahn Do-woon played the monarch Nam Tong-seon Kim Jong-ju, the younger brother of the founder of North Korea. The two played the roles of enemies. They moved the audience to tears and became widely known actors while still children. Wasn't it in the same year that they won all the children's awards at the film festival? I think I saw her in an advertisement when she was very young, the blonde recalled. Of course, Yoo-jin was a hot commodity. It all led to the film industry simply not being able to live without her. Bo-ra said absent-mindedly. That's really great, while Googling the latest news on the subject. So that's how it is. Breaking news today. The public has been waiting for this. With the active support of her fans, Yoo-jin has opened her own social media account. There was not a word about Park Si-hyun in the article, as if she had not appeared at all. Bo-ra thought, what was that sound? Most likely the sound of filming. Everyone went down to take a look. Maybe they'll go take a look too. Take a little break, her friend suggested. Yoo-jin clung to Ahn Do-woon's chest, causing surprise among the film crew. The guy turned pale with horror. What is she doing here? He asked anxiously, covered in cold sweat. She replied that he probably didn't know yet. She was filming with Do-won in a drama from that moment on. And he was overcome with animalistic horror. His pupils narrowed and blood rushed to his head. Director Kim immediately drove up with his camera and asked them to look into the lens. He explained that it was a photo for the weekly news. He asked them to stand together to take a few pictures for the first time in 15 years. And Do-woon didn't like the idea and remained aloof. But the cameraman asked them to stand closer. They hadn't seen each other in a long time. Weren't they happy to see each other? Director Kim instructed Do-woon to put his arm around Yoo-jin's waist. Do-woon tried to change the subject and asked if it was time to start filming. Then the actress simply took his hand. Will that work? Yes, great. Yoo-jin admitted that her thoughts had been constantly occupied with Do-woon since she left to study abroad. The director asked if they had really not been in touch at all during that time. Of course not, replied the actress. She was alone in a foreign country, so she remembered how difficult it was for her during those shoots. However, thanks to Do-woon, she was able to cope with everything. He said he didn't remember that. Yoo-jin concluded that Do-woon had become even more shy than before. Maybe it was because he had fallen in love? What was she talking about? The guy looked at the actress in horror, who was waiting in vain for a sincere confession. He was worried about Boru, so he said no and turned away. The actress said that she was very worried about the filming. Today they are shooting a love scene, so she asked him to take care of her. She is so happy after a long separation. Lee remarked Boru's observations were the same, but she was not pleased at all. She said it was just acting for the camera. Strange. Doon has an unusual expression on his face. Is everything okay with him? The girl worried. The director watched the actor's performance online on a monitor. The same dialogue that Do-woon rehearsed with Bo-ru didn't sound like acting when it came out of Yoo-jin's mouth, especially her sincere tears about not knowing what was going on in his heart. It seemed as if the script had been written for her story, and just as she was expecting a kiss, Do-woon couldn't bring himself to do it. The director was angry. Why couldn't Do-woon play his role in the same place? He demanded that he focus. Do-won grabbed his head, ruffled his hair, and asked for a 5-minute break. Was Do-woon nervous about kissing her? The actress wondered. He rudely told her to back off as if it had nothing to do with her. She said she could help him if he was having a hard time. Did he know how? She leaned toward him to whisper something in his ear. At that moment, Bora decided to approach and introduce herself to Yoo-jin. She was bothered by Do-eun's strange behavior and guessed that they must have been a couple at some point. She introduced herself as the director of the Violet Salon where the filming was taking place. Bora said she had heard that she had recently started acting in a drama and was happy to meet her. The actress admitted that she had seen Bora just leave the waiting room where Do-eun was. It seemed as if there was a special relationship between them. Bora replied that it may be a waiting room now, but it used to be a fitting room. However, during filming, the client schedule is less busy than usual. However, the dresses need to be checked from time to time anyway. So she went there thinking that filming was going on. Who knew that? And Do-won was there. The actress's eyes darkened, but she controlled herself and laughed. Indeed, she didn't think that filming would affect the salon's profitability. No, it had been discussed in advance. But what had Yoo-jin forgotten here? It seemed that the staff was looking for her on the first floor. She had warned them that she would go out to relax and get settled. She was just thinking that it would be a good idea to discuss the script with Do-eun. That's it, Bo-ra said. If you have any questions, you can ask the staff. Yoo-jin, flashing a fake smile, thanked them for their hospitality. The elevator arrived and the doors opened almost silently. Bo-ra suggested that the actors go down together. Do-woon, looking for any excuse to get rid of his co-star, said that he had forgotten his script in the waiting room so they could go ahead and he would take the next elevator. The actress, looking for an excuse to be alone with Do-woon, said she needed to rehearse a few scenes with him. Good luck to you both, Bo-ra said, glancing over her shoulder. Done looking at Yoo-jin, couldn't remember where he had seen this creepy girl before.